Now, today, we are gonna see, what if Naruto was Dark Lord, and made INO Yamanaka his slave? Part 3. Join Patreon for early ACESS and exclusive content of Super Op stories. Also adult and steamy Harry Potter stories too. Please subscribe this channel, because definitely I will try my best to provide a valuable content for you all. Also check the description to support the original author for this beautiful creation. Welcome everyone, Anko shouted, to the Forest of Death. The forest was large and ominous. It didn't help that they could hear strange sounds coming from it. It doesn't seem all that scary, Kiba stated cockily, as fast as lighting a kunai sailed past his face. The blade just lightly cut into his flesh, drawing a drop of blood. Anko was right behind him with a kunai at his neck. It's the hot-headed ones like you that end up splattered on the ground. Anko spoke as she licked the blood. She felt a presence behind her. It was giving off subtle killing intent. Hello, I believe this is yours. It was a grass ninja holding Anko's kunai with an elongated tongue. Thanks, but you shouldn't be behind me, Anko stated with a hard SMI. The kid behind you could get the wrong idea with the killing intent and kill you. Everyone saw the blonde behind the grass ninja. Gone was the mischievous smile. It was replaced with a hard mask. If his eyes were visible, many were sure that they were cold as ice. Take her warning, Naruto ordered. I just need a reason. Naruto didn't trust the kunoichi. Something about her rubbed him the wrong way. Especially since she knew so much about him. Not even Konoha shinobi knew that much. He would have shot her, but that would have caused a commotion. Even during the Chunin exams, where genin died left and right. One could not simply kill another in cold blood. The grass ninja gave a predatory smile before backing away. That was unnecessary, Gaki. Anko spoke. I can take care of myself. Naruto didn't speak. He never took his eyes off of the grass ninja. Getting a little tense there. Naruto, are you being protective? A new voice asked. What would INO think? Naruto turned to see Haku. What are you doing here? Naruto asked. I've been here since the first exam, she answered, shocking him. It was nice watching your display before the tests. Damn, he thought. I was careless to miss her. If she had decided to take a shot against him, it could have been bad. Your council thought it would be wise for me to take these exams and progress as a proper Konoha kunoichi, she stated with lack of enthusiasm. Naruto called bullshit. The council knew of her vendetta and probably thought this would be a good opportunity for her to go through with it without backlash. Haku was more than happy to oblige, though I wouldn't put it past them to ignore my assessment of her skills. He thought. They probably thought I was too weak to fight against a competent shinobi or something. And your team? He asked. The ice kunoichi motioned towards Sai and another genin that he did not recognize. More than likely a root ninja. What are you planning, Danzo? Hey, I'm still here, Kiba spoke. Good. Anko spoke. You can hand these out. She handed him a stack of papers. These are permission slips so that if you die we don't get blamed. What are we doing this time? Someone asked. The task is simple. Each team will be given a scroll. She held one that read, Heaven, and one that read, Earth. Your job is to retrieve the opposite scroll from the other team, by any means necessary. She let that one hang in the air. You have 5 days to do so and make it to the tower in the center. What about food? Choji asked. There are plenty of plants and wildlife in the forest, Anko assured. Just don't let them eat you first. If that becomes too difficult you could eat your enemy, Naruto offered. What scared many genin was that Choji seemed to actually be eyes were shifting. Back and forth between the many contestants. His family had created several types of spices and other seasonings that truly brought out the flavor in meat. Each of his enemies could be used as a door to new tastes. He began drooling at the prospect of a new flavor. Can we begin? INO asked nervously. Choji is scaring me. The teams were each given a scroll. They were each designated toward a gate. A word of advice. Anko spoke. Just don't die. The test began. Team 7 were moving through the forest at an even pace before coming to a stop. Once they covered enough distance they came to a stop. Okay, we need a plan, Naruto stated. I think we. Who put you in charge, Baka? Sakura asked. Naruto turned to the wannabe kunoichi with a small glare. It was a rare thing for her to get the new Naruto to show her any real emotion. You and I want the same thing, Naruto stated. Me off the team. To do that, we need to get through these exams. After that, I don't care, we can go our separate ways. Until then, can we act as if Kakashi's training on teamwork actually worked? Fine. They were a little taken back by High statement, but agreed nonetheless. Good, Naruto stated. Now stay here, I'm going to go pee. Don't say something like that in front of a lady, Sakura shouted. Act like one and I'll treat you like one, Naruto stated as he went behind a tree. Naruto returned 5 minutes later. What took so long? Sakura asked. Killed a genin that was trying to ambush me, Naruto answered. No scroll. Team 10 stood in the middle of the forest. We need a plan, Shikamaru stated. One that doesn't involve us fighting against a stronger team. So who? INO asked. How about Team 7? Choji asked. No, INO and Shikamaru answered. Why? Sasuke was the rookie of the year and I'm not sure if that stuff about Naruto are true or not, but I'm not taking any chances, Shikamaru answered. Oh, they're true, INO thought. INO felt an alarm go off in her head, making her jump back. Just as she did, several Senbon were lodged into the ground. It seemed that her training had actually paid off. Hello, INO-chan. Team 10 tensed at the voice, knowing they had an unwanted guest. Haku, INO replied coldly. Hussy. So where is he? Haku asked as she looked around. I thought Naruto would be close by so he could protect you. For your information, I can take care of myself, INO snarled as she took a fighting stance. Naruto made sure of that himself. Relax, I have no quarrel with you, Haku stated kindly. Just your boyfriend. Haku turned to leave with her team following close behind. Wait, what scroll do you have? Choji asked. Does it matter? The third member asked. Do you plan to fight us for it? Choji wisely closed his mouth as the team left. Haku-san, should we not search for a scroll? Sai asked. Who cares about the scroll? Haku asked. Your master didn't sign you up for that and we both know that. It would be helpful if we need it to face Team 7 in the next exams, the third member advised. Fine, let's go, Haku stated as she changed direction towards a nearby team. Don't die, Naruto, not until I kill you. What happened? Naruto asked. Oh right, hit by a wind blast. He tried to sit up, only to realize he wasn't alone. In front of him was a snake the size of a tree. Not wasting time, he shot the giant snake in its head, both killing and dispelling it. A summons, he thought. I could search for a scroll or find my team. He needed both, but one couldn't be replaced. Better find my team. He had found his team, now he wished he had gone scroll hunting. Naruto looked down towards the Rouge shinobi that he would have to fight. The shinobi that had just bested his teammates. He had hidden in the tree above, but knew he couldn't stay there for long. Who is this guy? Naruto began thinking of all possibilities. A large amount of chakra and snake-like appearance as well as summons. He felt like smacking himself when he found out the answer. Orochimaru of the Sannin, he mentally shouted. It didn't matter why a guy like that was in the village, though he had a few ideas, all that it meant was trouble. I'm no match for that, Naruto thought as he fell into the shadows. I'll have to sit back and see what I can do, strike when or if I ever get an opportune moment. Here, take the scroll and leave us in peace. Sasuke spoke as he held out the scroll. Fool, Naruto thought. A real shinobi doesn't give away the purpose of the mission, especially when the enemy enjoys playing around. It was a sign of strength, meaning they see. Old take what they want at their leisure. The traitor began saying the very thing himself, much to Naruto's dismay. Orochimaru let a smile form on his lips as he waited for the young shinobi to act. A small snake began crawling from his sleeve while he drew a kunai and held it at the ready. Naruto mentally cursed, he needed to act immediately. Jumping down, he fired a water bullet. Orochimaru stepped the projectile and thrust his arm forward. The snake attached to it extended in a lung, but never disconnected. From the Sannin, Naruto saw the attach coming and moved to the side as best he could while descending in midair. He was able barely avoid the serpent from striking his face. Gotcha, Orochimaru shouted. The serpent turned while in midair and struck Naruto from behind, digging its teeth into the back of his neck. The snake Sannin pulled his extended arm back and the snake reacted. Caught off guard, Naruto was pulled towards the Sannin. Orochimaru raised his kunai and impaled Naruto in his stomach. Never breaking stride, he flipped the blonde over his shoulder and into a tree. It cracked under the force of the impact. Damn, should have known I wouldn't be able to kill a S-rank rogue that easily. He thought as he stood. Naruto, what are you doing? Sasuke asked in outrage. He'll kill us. You think he'll let us go because you gave him a scroll? He even said he wouldn't. Naruto stated calmly as he removed the kunai. Isn't that right, Orochimaru? Oh my, what gave me away? The rogue asked as he removed his disguise. That would be telling. Naruto answered. You really are a mystery. Orochimaru chuckled. Like the unseen ones who support the great tree. Sasuke said nothing as the words rung in his head. He hated to admit it, but the shinobi in front of them was out of their league. He even managed to swat Naruto aside. And you have a plan? The Uchiha asked. Yes, remember what we had planned for the bell test with Kakashi? Naruto asked. This isn't so different. Yeah, except we might lose our heads. The Uchiha growled. This is like the Zabuza situation all over again. He can just kill us and take what he wants. Exactly, Naruto stated. Sasuke stated as he drew a kunai. What was the plan with Kakashi? Sakura asked as she made her way towards them. She had never been a part of it, and it was unlikely she would be a part of this one as well. That did not mean she didn't want to be informed. One of us distracts the opponent and the other comes in and further divert their attention. Sasuke explained. In that second, 1-0. Fs swipes the B scroll and then we retreat. Well, why don't we do that part now? She asked as she eyed the woods. Has she not been paying attention? Naruto thought to himself. I know where this is going. Team 7 were shocked by what happened next. Naruto placed a comforting hand on her back. Don't worry Sakura-chan. He smiled. We can win this if we work as a team. Naruto threw the blood. kunai as hard as he could towards the enemy, as well as several others. With that attack starting the fight, Orochimaru jumped from the branch he was on to avoid it. Shadow Clone Jutsu, unleashing over a dozen clones. Naruto had them charge the rogue in an attempt to dogpile on his. Orochimaru smirked as he saw the attempt and with a simple backhand, he sent several clones into each other. Naruto, thinking the Sannin was distracted, aimed a finger. He was rewarded with a kunai to the hand. Should have known it wouldn't be that easy. Naruto thought as he removed the blade. That was the second time he made that mistake. He knew he wouldn't survive a third one. Back with the other members of Team 7, Sakura and Sasuke watched the one-sided fight. Sasuke had his Sharingan flaring wildly as tried to find the slightest moment for when he could jump into the fray. So far, he found none. This did not go unnoticed by Sakura. Sasuke-kun, maybe we should leave. Sakura stated wearily. We can't, he'll just hunt us down. The Uchiha growled. Come on, give me an opening. Not if he's distracted. With Naruto. She pointed out. It's not like he can win against a Sannin. Besides, won't we be better off without him? Sasuke tensed at the suggestion Sakura made. He thought about how the dead last humiliated him. It's his own fault, Sasuke thought, for humiliating me, thinking he could get in my way. With a nod towards his pink companion, they left as silently as possible. Striking Shadow Snake, a single snake flew from the Sannin's robe and tried to bite Naruto. Luckily the blonde was agile enough to land on its head. With the right amount of chakra control, he was able to run down the reptile. Noticing a sudden shift in the snake's body, Naruto jumped off as its head came back. Had he been a moment slower, he would have been bitten in the back. Holding WCB in a reverse grip, he swung the blade. Orochimaru grabbed the blonde by the arm, smacking wrist and forcing Naruto to release the kunai. He grabbed Naruto's other arm and pulled. This kept Naruto from getting any leverage to break free and kept him in pain as he tried to keep his sockets in place. That's an interesting look in your eyes, Naruto-kun. Orochimaru stated. Your bloodline, I presume. Naruto had his eyes activated and locked on Orochimaru. The snake Sannin actually shivered when he saw the emptiness in them. No doubt the work of Danzo. He thought. Naruto raised his foot to Orochimaru's jaw, forcing a release. He delivered a punch, only for it to be caught in an iron grip. He tried it with his other hand, only for the same result. "I'm taking these," Naruto stated. Naruto confused the Sannin when he intertwined their fingers. Naruto forced Orochimaru's fingers into a series of seals, much to his shock. Two different jutsus at once. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Wind style. Great breakthrough. Naruto combined the two into a powerful jutsu, the wind increasing the flame. Being at such close range, Chi was practically a bomb to both their faces. "Show me more." The Sannin squealed as he enjoyed the display. Naruto stood upright and sheathed his weapons, much to Orochimaru's surprise. "What's he up to?" the snake thought. "What's your game?" Naruto asked cautiously. "What are you and Danzo planning?" Orochimaru looked at Naruto before laughing again. "What gave me away? Like the unseen ones who support the great tree, you said." Naruto quoted. "That describes a root. You are interesting indeed." The snake complimented. "I wanted to give this to Sasuke-kun, but we're running low on time, so you'll have to suffice." The snake Sannin threw a kunai at the blonde, forcing him to jump, only to be snared by Orochimaru's superior speed. Naruto grunted as he felt the fangs break through his skin. Then came a searing pain that spread throughout his body. It was too much, even for him. He collapsed at the snake's feet. What is this?" he forced out. "I will enjoy studying you, Naruto-kun," Orochimaru stated as he pushed the blonde from the branch. "If you survive." Deep within Naruto's subconscious, a giant red eye snapped open. Filled with malice, the creature let out a chuckle. "Foul snake," he spoke in a deep voice. "I don't know whether to kill you, or thank you." Then the pain doubled and all he could hear was dark laughter. Deep within the forest of death. "Sasuke-kun, I'm tired," Sakura stated. The Uchiha was tired as well. They both had to stay on their guard in the forest if they wanted to survive, as well as put as much distance as possible between them and Orochimaru. They didn't know how the conflict ended, they just assumed the worst and continued running. They had very little sleep. Sasuke didn't trust Sakura not to fall asleep or get killed during her watch. Sakura was just too scared to sleep, even with her Sasuke around. Add that to the exhaustion of their battle the day before, they were running on fumes. Usually they would have Kakashi watching over them, or one of Naruto's many clones. "Well, he's dead," Sasuke thought with a hint of dark joy. "That's one off of my list, now there's only him, the murderer of my clan." So wrapped up in his thoughts, he didn't notice the squirrel that moved towards them, or the explosive note on it. Now, even deeper within the forest of death. No, we needed to go further than that, deeper. Inside of a seal. Hat Snake thinks he has control over my vessel, huh? The fox laughed at the audacity. "The only one with control here is me." When Orochimaru placed the cursed mark on Naruto, he forgot an important thing. When placing a seal on another seal, there can be adverse effects. The blonde already had a seal on him, one that contained the nine-tailed fox demon. Thanks to Orochimaru's recklessness, Kyuubi was given the slightest bit of freedom. That was all the fox needed. Noticing the seal, he immediately began altering it for his own purposes. Though the snake was of a foul evil, the Kyuubi was hatred incarnate. "Now, wake up." Naruto's eyes snapped open. "Sasuke-kun." Sakura cried out for the umpteenth time. The Uchiha was getting his tail handed to him by the sound team and Sakura was making no attempts to help. "This is the one he wanted?" Dosu asked in disappointment. "The famous last Uchiha, isn't there supposed to be a third member?" Zaku asked as he looked around. "Some tough guy." In the trees above was Team 10. Hiding from the fray. "We have to get out of here," Shikamaru urged. "No," INO stated firmly. "Not until I find out what happened to Naruto-kun." "Hey, who's there?" one of the sound nin demanded. They all turned towards the tree to see Team 10. "We have to get out of here," Choji stated frantically. "Go ahead and leave," Zaku mocked. "Fatty." INO and Shikamaru face-palmed when they heard the insult. It looked like they were going to enter the fray after all. Naruto was examining his body. He had a strange marking that spread across his entire body. It started from his neck where Orochimaru had bitten him. It expanded in a spiral patterns that ended at the start of another. His eyes were glowing a crimson red. It wasn't the red of his bloodline. That was A pale red that only replaced the blue and gave his eyes an empty look. This one was a darker shade of red with a fox-like iris in the middle. There was no hollow emptiness in them. They were filled with raw hate. The last time Naruto had these eyes were when he threatened Haku. Unlike then, this wasn't a passionate spur of the moment. This was more stable in its purpose, lasting. No, the Kyuubi was not in control. It was still Naruto, but the fox was influencing. It was another version of Naruto. Just as he had an empty shinobi mode, he now had this one. Let's put it to use, shall we? He thought in anticipation. With a mere thought, he felt his body leave in a pull. If anyone had seen him, they would only see him disappear in a flash. Now we end this, Kin shouted as pulled her kunai overhead, only to be kicked away by Naruto. Naruto-kun, Ino cried in joy. The joy quickly faded when she saw the difference in him. He didn't have the usual coldness she had become familiar with during serious moments, nor his reserved but well-meaning personality. Instead, he seemed eager to fight, to hurt someone. Then there were the physical differences, like the strange markings on his body. How his nails seemed like claws and his hair was wilder. But his eyes were what really unnerved her. What's going on? She thought to herself. Who are you and where did you come from? Zaku asked. That wasn't a body flicker or a summons. Dosu thought unnerved. What was that? The blonde raised his clawed hand and brought it down on Kin's face, tearing most of her flesh away. She howled in pain, as she raised her hand to cover the wound. Naruto then thrusted his arm through her stomach. She looked down in shock before succumbing to the wound and dying. Decapitating air waves. Zaku blasted pure air and sound at Naruto in an attempt to kill him. The blonde was ready. Raising the arm with her still on it, he threw it at Zaku's attack. Kin's body was torn to pieces. Zaku raised his arms to attack Naruto again, but he never got a chance to finish his attack. Naruto was behind him already. Grabbing the sound Genin's arms, he forced them apart. There was a popping sound before a wet tear was heard. Then came the inevitable sight of Zaku's arm being torn off. The blonde raised them over his head in a display, like a trophy. He smiled at their horrified faces as the blood from the arms showered him. Dosu had taken this moment to attack Naruto with the Melody Gauntlet. He managed to strike the blonde in the chest, but all that he gained was a twitch. The blonde was completely fine. That's impossible, he thought in fear. Naruto grabbed the sound Genin's hand and examined the weapon. This could be useful, Naruto thought. He was full of bloodlust, but that didn't mean he didn't recognize an asset. Much to everyone's surprise, he began to calmly remove the weapon from Dosu. The sound nin didn't even try to stop him, too scared and confused to attempt it. It's yours, he stated as he began backing away. And the scroll if you want it, just let me go. He handed Naruto the scroll, which the blonde took. They really needed it seeing as how theirs was destroyed by Orochimaru. But sound Genin thought he could use it to barter with his life. Naruto giggled as he watched the Genin flee. At the very least, I do love a moving target. Everyone in the field was terrified. Im7 and INO had seen Naruto be ruthless, but not like this. He was always quick and clean, never doing more than what was necessary for efficiency. This was being cruel and messy. Like a demon. Y could only wonder what would happen once he was done with the sound ninja. Would he turn on them as well? Two of them deserved it. INO was torn. She wanted him to snap out of this madness, but she was too afraid to interfere. No, she thought with a shake of her head. I'm a kunoichi, not a coward. INO charged and tackled Naruto with a hug. She held him tightly. Please stop Naruto-kun, she begged as she held him. This isn't you. Naruto was mentally torn with indecision. Part of him wanted to kill her for interfering with shinobi affairs and another part wanted to kill her just to feel her flesh tear. Either way, he wanted to kill her, and the others in the clearing. Both parts were pushed away by the part that truly cared for her. The curse mark began to recede. Okay, he can go, Naruto stated, though it's a bad move as a shinobi. Thank you, INO whispered as she hugged his chest. Naruto rubbed her back soothingly as he enjoyed the hug, but all things must come to an end. INO-chan, I'm going to pass out for a few hours, Naruto stated. Please watch over me. Before she could say anything, he collapsed in her arms. Ah, he's so peaceful, she thought, and heavy. Dosu hunched over to gather his breath. He hadn't stopped running once the blonde had let him go. Honestly, he had though that Naruto was going to kill him regardless of the scroll. That was insane, he thought. Exactly what is Orochimaru planning? He was disturbed from his thoughts when he heard the rustling of leaves and the snap of a branch. Come on out before I kill you, he shouted. Kukuku, someone's having a bad day. Dosu paled when he heard the laughter and turned towards the voice to see Orochimaru rising from the earth. Oh Orochimaru-sama, what are you doing here? He asked as he took a step back. This didn't go unnoticed by the snake. Why Dosu-kun, aren't you happy to see me? The genin didn't answer, he just stared at the man he called master. Why did you give that blonde the curse mark? He asked. He butchered my team, I saw, the Sannin stated, and I must say, it was quite the display. Why you saw? He asked in disbelief. Yes, and how unfortunate for your team. He sighed. But all is not lost. I still have use for you. What do you? Before Dosu could react, he felt a sharp pain in the back of his skull before everything became nothing. It was a little over 2 hours before Naruto awoke. He was laying down on the ground, but his head was resting on something soft but firm. He took a moment to nuzzle his head further into it, enjoying the feel of it. Well, better get up now, he thought as he, feeling better. INO asked. Much. Naruto answered. Good. Slap. OW, what did I do? He asked as he rubbed his sore cheek. That's for worrying the hell out of me with whatever that was. She answered as she rested her head in his chest. Don't do that again. Though the last part came in a whisper, it was loud in his heart. Man, that sounded cheesy. What was that marking? Naruto looked at the Uchiha who had just made a demand of him. It seemed that he would never learn. Answer him, you baka. Naruto blurred from their vision as he reappeared in front of them, his fist firmly planted into Sasuke's stomach. The Uchiha fell to his knees with blood dripping from his mouth. With a quick twist of his arm he smacked Sakura so hard that she fell to the ground with a torn cheek. Naruto, INO shouted. You two abandoned me, he stated without looking at them. I knew you were a coward, Sakura, but you Sasuke, the blonde trailed off. How did you beat Orochimaru? Sasuke asked through the pain. Is he that strong? I didn't. The blonde answered. He unconsciously rubbed his neck. Naruto picked up the scroll from the ground. It was a Earth scroll. What scroll do you have? Naruto asked Team 10. The team tensed at the question. They had forgotten it was still a life or death competition and that they were supposed to be enemies. After what they saw, Naruto was the last they wanted to compete against. We have in heaven, INO answered. Was all Naruto said. What are you waiting for? Sakura asked. Beat them and take their scroll. No, Naruto stated as he pocketed the Earth scroll. I have a proposition for your team, INO. We're listening. I'll help you to get another scroll if you keep silent about what happened here today. INO was conflicted. On one hand she wanted answers. On the other she wanted out of the forest as fast as possible. Deal. What about us? Sakura asked. I demand answers. Sasuke growled. You two were killed by an enemy shinobi that had taken us by surprise. Naruto suddenly stated without looking at them. Orochimaru of the Sannin, we never stood a chance as he killed Sakura and fled with Sasuke for his Sharingan. Never for the Uchiha to be seen again. They noticed that as he said that, his finger was tensed, ready to execute them on the spot. Hey, that's a little. Team 10 tried to help, like good leaf comrades only to be cut down. He stated as a smile formed on his face. All that was left of them were mangled husks of. He stopped mid-sentence and everyone saw why. INO was hugging her fellow blonde from behind. There was a conflicted look on his face before he relaxed and the markings on his body began receding again. Let's go find those scrolls and get out of this forest, she whispered into his back. Okay, there's a team 10 yards to our east, Naruto stated. They have both scrolls. How do you know? Choji asked. I do, was his answer. Anyone have a plan? Let's draw them out and. No, Naruto stated. If you have a chance then take it, but never let your enemy get on even ground with you. For all we know, they could specialize in open combat. Troublesome, What do you propose? Shikamaru asked. Let's see if my lessons have paid off, Naruto stated as he looked at INO. The blonde blushed when all attention turned to her. She knew what this was. Naruto was testing her to see if his lessons had been working. I'll use my mind transfer jutsu to take over one of them and find out who has the scroll, she stated. I will then create a distraction, letting Shikamaru capture them. What about me? Choji asked. Be ready for combat in case one of them escapes or breaks free, she answered. Oh man, I might actually have to fight, Choji thought with dread. Good plan, Naruto stated. Simple yet effective. Alright, let's begin. INO spoke. Mind transfer jutsu. Her technique hit the desired target, the apparent leader of the group. Success, she thought. INO reached into her pouch and pulled out 2 kunai with explosive tags added. This caught the attention of the other teammates. What's wrong? Do you sense an enemy? One of them asked. Yes, she answered. There are 2 enemies around me. She threw both kunai to the feet of her enemies, the guy's teammates. The genin jumped back in shock just as the explosives went off. What the hell are? He stopped mid-sentence when he realized he couldn't move. Hey, what's going on? He teammate, hand over the scroll. A disembodied voice spoke from the trees. Never, one of the genin stated. I wasn't talking to you. They noticed that the traitor of their group was the only one not caught in the jutsu. INO, using the body, searched the host's team's pocket to find the scroll. She found them. With great aim, she threw them into the bushes where her real team was. Release, INO thought as she cancelled the jutsu. INO awakened to find herself back into her own body. What about them? She asked as she stood. With any luck, they'll conflict among themselves, Naruto answered. That's pretty cold and underhanded, Shikamaru stated. Naruto only gave the Nara a smirk. He took it as a compliment. What now? Choji asked. Now, I take the scroll I need and you take the one you need, Naruto stated. Why didn't you take ours in that clearing? Shikamaru answered. We're comrades, Naruto answered. Not for these exams, Shikamaru answered. Here it's every team for themselves. Naruto just gave the Nara another smile. This time he was impressed. The Nara was very curious and perceptive, excellent traits for a ninja. He'll do this village good, Naruto thought. But you can do better, a voice whispered. Better than all of them. Naruto suddenly tensed in pain and his hand went towards the curse mark. It was only for a second before he composed himself. Is everything okay, Naruto-kun? INO asked. Fine, he lied without looking at him. Let's go. Which way? Choji asked. The blonde simply grabbed their arms. Sasuke and Sakura were sitting at the entrance of the tower. They had waited as the blonde had ordered, too afraid to do otherwise, though Sasuke would never admit it. They nearly had a heart attack when Naruto and Team 10 appeared from nowhere. How did you get here so fast? Sasuke asked. I placed a seal on Sakura that brought me here like a summons, Naruto answered. Same way I got to the clearing. Quote, back when I patted her on the back, before you all abandoned me, Naruto answered. I had a feeling that I would have to use it, unfortunately I was right. Sakura began looking over her body to find the seal. Naruto placed another on top of the previous, removing it and keeping it secret. Damn you Dobi, Sasuke mentally growled. Let's go, Shikamaru stated as he entered the tower. This forest is too troublesome. As soon as Team 7 and 8 entered the tower, they were greeted by a Chunin. He informed them of the true meaning of the scrolls and their symbolization. As he did, Naruto sneaked away leaving a clone in his place. Hey old man, Naruto called. The Hokage was taken back by the sudden display of disrespect. Though he would be lying. Gee, if he said he hadn't missed the old version of Naruto. He hasn't called me that in ages, the Hokage thought. Hello Naruto-kun, the Hokage greeted. How was the Forest of Death? Well, it wasn't too bad, Naruto admitted. The only real problem was the noisy snake we had to deal with. As Naruto said that, he kept his wide smile and false bravado. Though as the Hokage looked, he saw the blonde had activated his bloodline for only him to see, showing nothing but lethal seriousness. What are you going on about, Naruto? He thought to himself. Noisy snake. Oh no, Orochimaru is affiliated with sound. Naruto saw the spark of understanding in his leader's eyes before nodding, which was returned. Well, you best return to your team, Naruto, he advised. Gonna need to make a lot of preparations. The Hokage and the Genin were all lined up. He began to explain the purpose of these exams. How they were a substitute for war. A proctor stepped in and began explaining the matches. How it would be said to weed out the weaker ones so that best would be showing their skills at the finals. They were given the chance to forfeit. Only Kabuto did so. Sasuke vs. Yoroi. Canon Sasuke wins. Shino vs. Sai. Both contestants entered the arena. Silent and focused. Neither of them said a thing, they just began the fight. Sai made the first move. Ninja art. Super Beast Scroll. Several black and white cartoonist beasts flew from the scroll. They made a directed line for Shino, who stood there unflinching. The beast tore through the Aburame, much to the shock of the Genin spectators. Instead of blood and flesh, all that was revealed were insects. Shino had replaced himself with a bug clone. The insects began swarming over the ink beast, and in a matter of seconds, the beast fell into a puddle of ink. You should surrender, Shino advised. If these ink beasts are all you are capable of, then my insects will continue to drain them of chakra and make their way to you. Sai thought it over. Shino was right, it was a bad pairing. The only way to defeat him would require him to show more skill than he was allowed to display. He was not to draw unwanted attention to himself. Shino wins. What happened? INO asked. It was a bad pairing. Naruto answered. Shino's bugs will consume the chakra from the art, leaving Sai defenseless. Getting closer would be stupid because he'd be walking into the bugs. So forfeiting was the only option. INO stated. No, Naruto stated. At times, death is the necessity. INO shuddered at his coldness, but understood. The last exam showed many that surrender wasn't always an option. Kankuro vs. Stretchy Guy. Canon Kankuro wins Hinata vs. Neji. Canon no Naruto cheering. Sakura vs. INO. Alright INO-chan. Naruto cheered. Now Naruto, it's not nice to cheer against your teammate. Kakashi chastised. Sakura, over my girlfriend. Naruto asked as if his sensei was insane. Can I get a kiss for luck? INO asked. You don't need it, but I will give you an early victory kiss. He stated. What about me, Sasuke-kun, can I have a good luck kiss? Sakura asked. No, he answered. Yosh, I shall give you a kiss that will give you victory. Lee declared. No way. Sakura screamed as she practically ran down the stairs. Sakura, INO greeted. I'm going to beat you and prove I'm the one for Sasuke-kun. Sakura declared. Prove what? INO asked. I already told you that I moved on. To Naruto. What can he possibly offer you that Sasuke-kun can't? Love and kindness, INO answered, as well as he has helped me train to make me stronger and smarter. Well, I have also become stronger. Sakura declared, I'm not that crybaby anymore. Well, prove it, INO stated. Sakura charged INO with her fist cocked. INO took a half step backwards and using her left hand, she pushed Sakura's fist to the side. Using her right, she delivered a blow to the kunoichi's stomach. Sakura grabbed her stomach before glaring at INO. Angrily, Sakura swung a wide punch at INO which was blocked, so was the second. INO, seeing an opening, punched Sakura in the face. INO didn't stop there. She gave Sakura another punch that bent her over right into her knee, breaking her nose. With a back hand, she sent Sakura flying several feet. Is that it? INO asked. Wow, INO's being pretty brutal. Asuma spoke, especially to an old friend. You can probably thank Naruto for that. Kakashi spoke. You should surrender, Sakura, INO advised. You can't win. INO sighed at her old friend's words, they were pathetic. And to think, I used to have the same mindset. At least she wasn't as bad. Her clan would have fixed her before that happened. INO kicked Sakura onto her back and placed a foot onto her, pinning her in place. You have no place in the shinobi world, INO stated. Surrender. Never. Sakura yelled. INO stared at the girl for a moment without saying a thing. She simply raised a finger and pointed it at the center of Sakura's head. What are you doing? Ending this fight, INO stated coldly. Goodbye, Sakura, I'll remember you. There's no way Naruto taught you that, she declared, not sure herself. A drop of water fell onto her head, silencing her. Hold still, INO ordered. I can't focus chakra like Naruto. It takes me 4 seconds to do it properly. 4. Another drop of water fell on Sakura's head. 3. Come one INO. Sakura begged. We're friends. INO said nothing as a drop of water fell onto Sakura's head. I surrender. Sakura shouted. INO wins. Wow, Naruto. Didn't think you'd teach her that jutsu. Kakashi stated. I didn't. Naruto answered. She bluffed it. So the water, quote, was sweat. Temari vs Tenten Cannon. Temari wins. Shikamaru vs. Choji. Oh man, I don't want to fight you, Shikamaru. Choji whined. Neither do I. The Nara stated. This is troublesome. How about if we both? If either of you gives up, I'm sending Naruto after you. INO screamed from the side. Both of the contestants paled at the threat. The male blonde just stared at them, waiting. I guess we have to fight. Choji stated nervously. Not really. Shikamaru stated lazily. I trapped you in my shadow the minute we began this battle. Everyone looked down to see that it was true. Only the Chunin and Naruto were able to notice the action. They were not impressed considering how the match went. Shikamaru wins. Gara vs. Lee Cannon. Naruto vs Akira, Haku's teammate. Naruto and Akira made their way to the arena. Both were analyzing their opponent and looking for a way to finish them off. As Naruto studied the genin, his shoulder began to throb. He did his best to hide his pain, but it still caused him to wobble slightly. Damn curse mark, he thought. Naruto needed to end the fight as quickly as possible. It didn't want anything revealed. Especially with the foreign shinobi around. They may try and take advantage of it. Naruto drew the WCB and Akira's drew 2 Tontos. Gonna need to stay away from that. Naruto thought. Looks like he prefers close combat. Raising his hand, he fired a water bullet. To his surprise, Akira ducked the bullet and continued forward. He's prepared. Naruto thought. Need to. Naruto's body locked in pain as the curse mark began to flare. Akira didn't know or care what was happening, he just saw an advantage he could take. Running forward, he struck at Naruto's throat. The blonde was able to gain enough control to take a wobbly back step. This caused the blade to cut his upper chest instead of his throat. That was an attack to kill. Naruto muttered low enough for his opponent to hear. Why, you are a threat to my master. He stated blankly as he continued to strike. I am no threat to the Hokage. Naruto stated. I don't mean that, weakling. Akira stated. You are a threat to Lord Danzo, even if he won't acknowledge it. Naruto and Akira charged each other, blades meeting. Naruto had to raise his left hand to block the second blade. Naruto didn't even flinch when it pierced his palm, ins. Instead he pushed it further to wrap his palm around Akira's. Naruto's cheeks inflated, the only warning that Akira had. The young root nin leaned back at a 45-degree angle, dodging the mass of water that flew out. He continued on with a backflip, kicking Naruto, to gain some distance. You can't win. Akira spoke. I've been studying you, I know all your tricks. That's what he thinks. Naruto thought. Here's something new. If he couldn't win through direct combat, he would just fall back onto his specialty. Stealth and trickery. Jumping back, he began forming hand signs only to freeze in pain again. Once again, Akira saw and lunged. Now, Naruto dived under the blade, dropping several smoke bombs in the process. It may not be the hidden mist jutsu, but it should suffice. Naruto thought. Naruto allowed his opponent to see his eyes turn red before he disappeared into the mist. A scare tactic to throw his opponent off. Though fear wasn't something that would work on a root nin, even one as young as him. Where is he? Akira thought to himself. The young root nin felt a presence from behind and instinctively turned to face it. He saw a shadow in the mist just inches from him. Using his Tonto, he impaled the shadow only to fall through it. The last thing he felt was a pain in the back of his head before nothing. When the smoke finally cleared, only Naruto was standing. His opponent was dead, a hole in his head. Winner Naruto. End Naruto. INO spoke nervously. Why did you kill him? It needed to be done. He answered. But the match didn't require it. INO spoke up. It was an unnecessary death. I never kill unnecessarily. Naruto stated. Every time I kill, it's for the sake of the village or my life. INO realized that she was getting no more answers from him, so she sighed and turned to the match. Haku versus Kiba. The two made it to the arena. Here we go, Akumaru. Kiba cheered. I'd advise you to surrender now. Haku spoke coldly. You aren't my target, but I won't let you stand in my way. It was then that Kiba noticed Akumaru seemed to be nervous. Huh, she must be strong. He thought, we're gonna have to make this quick. Kiba dropped to his hands and feet. Ninja art. Beast mimicry. All fours jutsu. The Inuzuka flared with chakra as he began taking a more feral-like appearance. He seemed to blur from the vision of most of the genin. Haku quickly raised a hand and caught Kiba by his wrist as he tried to claw at her face. You are fast, Haku stated, but not fast enough, and I have you at a disadvantage. Oh yeah, what? Kiba asked. The first is that the air is saturated with moisture from Naruto's jutsu, little though it is. Haku answered as she raised her free hand. The second is this. Haku began forming single-handed seals. 1,000 flying water needles of death. Just as the name stated, the water began forming a proverbial 1,000 needles above the duo. They fell upon the Inuzuka, who couldn't escape Haku's iron grip, in a merciless onslaught. Haku finally released Kiba once he fell limp in her grasp. Do you think you can take many more of those? Haku asked. How about your companion? Kiba mustered all of his strength to take a peek at Akumaru. The pup looked more like a porcupine with the needles that protruded from his back. I surrender, Kiba stated growled. That concludes the preliminary round. Hayate spoke. Now all of you come and draw slots for your opponents during the finals. They drew lots. In the Hokage's office were two powerful shinobi. The stood over orb that allowed them to view a certain blonde. Is that him, sensei? Yes, it is Jiraiya, the third answered. Not at all how I imagined him. Jiraiya stated. He's undergone a drastic change. The third admitted. Well, no matter the change, he'll gape in awe at the presence of I. He boasted. Jiraiya the gallant. My students. Sarutobi thought. One student is the off-doing who knows what. One is planning the downfall of the village, and then there's Jiraiya. Where did I go wrong? Naruto was meditating under a tree in an empty training ground. Now, Naruto thought as he kept his eyes closed. The Konohamaru corpse burst from the trees. Nohamaru was in the lead with his friends flanking both sides of him. Once they were in range, Konohamaru broke the formation and rushed forward with his fists cocked. His fist only met air as Naruto leaned back and smacked him on the back of his head. Dead, he thought. He raised his arm to block a kick from Moegi and extended it, pushing her back. She fell onto her back and stood there as Naruto aimed a finger at her. Dead. Udon stood frozen as the finger moved to him. Dead. I got you now, Naruto. INO declared. She froze when she felt something move past her cheek at blinding speed, drawing a drip of blood. Looking over her shoulder, she saw a shuriken lodged within the tree. Very dead, Naruto thought before asking. Care to tell me what you did wrong? I declared my presence instia. Of taking the advantage as it presented itself. She mumbled. Good, Naruto stated. Now that you know not to assist your enemy by giving away your position, you won't have your team massacred. Aren't you think you're being a little tough on her, Naruto? A lazy voice asked. Not at all, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto spoke without turning. I need to make sure that she's prepared for the finals. She's up against a lot of strong people. Plus there are worse in the real world, not just those the villages put up on public display. True, Kakashi agreed, but you can't neglect your own training, Naruto. Are you offering to help? Naruto asked. Yes, in a way. Kakashi eyes smiled. The closet perv? Naruto asked. Closet? Perv? Kakashi questioned. It's nothing, Kakashi-san. Ebiso quickly declared before whispering to Naruto. Keep quiet and I'll buy you ramen. 5 minutes later, we find the special Chunin keeping his word with our blonde. Though Naruto has changed so much since his graduation, his love of ramen was still the same, though he was cleaner as he ate. So what did you plan on teaching me? Naruto asked. Well, I had planned on going over basics with you and if you had proven yourself. Kakashi-san has given me some jutsu for you to learn. The special Chunin answered. I have a request, Naruto stated. I want you to train INO-chan in whatever you had planned for me. The Yamanaka, he questioned. What on earth for? Ino-chan has a tough opponent and I don't think I can properly train her and prepare myself, not with a simple clone. Naruto answered. One of us wou. LD be getting the short end of the stick. Naruto saw that the special Chunin was trying to decide on whether he would do so or not. Surely a teacher of your caliber can get her to an adequate level. You are training the future Hokage, right? Of course, Ebiso stated proudly. If I can train the next Hokage, then surely I can train a clan heir. Naruto mentally rolled his eyes. Flattery, just a fuel for the vain. He thought. Then could you teach her this? Naruto asked as he handed Ebiso a blank scroll. It's something I whipped together last night. Getting up, Naruto left the shinobi in his daydreams. Once he awoke, he was greeted with an extraordinary bill for the meal Naruto had finished. How long do you plan to follow me? Naruto called. Danzo. The root leader was standing before Naruto with a small squad of his personal shinobi. He had a calm facade, but for those who knew him, his anger was obvious. Why did you kill Akira? Danzo asked. To get a message across to you. Naruto stated. Oh, and what message is that? I am not loyal to you. Naruto stated with his bloodline activated. That doesn't explain why he needed to die. Danzo stated. Because he wasn't loyal to Konoha. Naruto answered as he turned to Danzo. His loyalties lied in you, not the village. Just because he wasn't loyal to the Hokage doesn't mean he was a threat. Danzo spoke. A shinobi isn't loyal to his Hokage. He is loyal to the village. Naruto stated. A Hokage is just another commander in this lifelong mission for the village. Leaders come and go, but the nations are what stand for generations. And it's the leader that keeps the nation standing, that brings the nation to new heights. Danzo retorted. Everything I do is for Konoha, aren't I worthy of the title Hokage? If it were truly for Konoha, the hat wouldn't matter. Naruto answered. A completed mission would be all that was needed. Danzo and Naruto squared off with an intense gaze each. The blonde turned and began walking away. It was only once he was out of range of the dark shinobi that he heard another speak. That was both a wise and foolish decision you made back there. A new voice spoke. And who are you? I'm glad you asked. The man exclaimed. I am. Naruto had already walked away from the stranger. By time he had noticed the blonde was gone, he had already finished his intro. Hey, what kind of person asks for a name and doesn't listen for the answer? He declared. I know who you are. Naruto stated. Jiraiya of the Chunin. Oh, I see that my reputation precedes me. A cage-level shinobi and bearer of the Toad contract. Oh, you're making me blush. A pervert. That's super pervert. Jiraiya corrected. And a failed man. You forgot the most important part. Jiraiya stated with his jubilance returned. I'm your sensei for the month. What could you possibly teach me? Naruto asked. Naruto wasn't being cocky or arrogant, he was being suspicious. This powerful shinobi, who he'd never met in person, was not offering to train him. That was questionable. Hey, I taught your father. Jiraiya stated. And look where he went, the fourth Hokage. Naruto gave a short pause, which he used to stare at the Chunin. Jiraiya wouldn't admit it, but he couldn't read the blonde. Teaching a genius to be great isn't much of an accomplishment. Naruto stated. Besides, I have all of his scrolls as well as my mother's. Scrolls can only do so much. The Chunin stated. Plus there was plenty that I hadn't had a chance to teach him, things I could teach you. I've done fine with scrolls so far. It's not like a hands-on experience. I realized it the minute I said it. The Chunin stated. I usually save that line for Kunoichi. I'm going to leave now. Naruto hadn't gotten more than a few feet when he stopped and brought a hand to his neck. Though he didn't show it, he was in incredible pain. Train under me and I'll seal the mark up for you. Jiraiya offered with an air of seriousness. Naruto turned and gave the Chunin that same unreadable expression once again. What do you want? Naruto asked coldly. The biggest pair of no games Jiraiya. Naruto cut in. You're bartering over the curse mark. A threat to the village. A shinobi wouldn't do that unless he was attempting to gain something. Quote. I see. Naruto stated. I have a clone doing research on sealing the mark and once he finished, I'll then have Kakashi use the seal on me. It may not be anything on your level, but it'll hold. Uzumaki. Naruto and Jiraiya turned to see an Anbu. Cat. The council? Naruto asked. The Anbu nodded. Danzo's moving faster than I anticipated. Naruto thought. Hello Anbu-chan. Jiraiya greeted as he leered at her body. How would you like to be my new apprentice? He asked as he flexed his fingers. I could teach you with some hands-on experience. The blonde left in a body flicker as the kunoichi drew her sword. Greetings. Naruto spoke. Welcome Naruto-kun. The Hokage greeted. Naruto-san. A councilman spoke. It has come to our attention that you have been keeping a secret from us. Their politeness seems so forced that it almost hurts. Naruto thought. Which secret is that? Naruto asked calmly. The curse mark or the bloodline. Apparently you possess a rare ability. Someone spoke. Did you not think it wise to tell the council of this? I did not. Naruto informed. Just the opposite. I wished it kept from you. Why? When I was born, I had a demon placed inside me. Naruto began. Since it was obvious that I wouldn't be seen as the hero the fourth wanted. It was meant to be an S-rank secret between the council. Less than an hour later the villagers were screaming for my blood. Why you were an unknown threat to the village. And you thought to antagonize me? The blonde questioned. Over years, Uzumaki, for the safety of the village. It's for the safety of this village that my ability most remains secret. Naruto countered. Oh, we understand the need for secrecy Uzumaki. Shikaku stated. Does it have anything to do what the grass nin said during the second exams? The blonde was silent as he pondered on his response. He was running out of options. He could come up with a lie, but that would be used against him in the future if it was ever found out. If he told the truth then they were likely to either try and use him or. Yes, it is. Naruto answered before quickly adding. It is not Kyuubi related. If you do possess the eyes that the grass ninja spoke us, the killer's glare, he stated uneasily. And it should be resourced to better aid the village. You all make valid points. Naruto stated. But what you're asking of my abilities are a clan secret. You have no. I am the last of my clan. Naruto countered. That doesn't mean there is no clan. And what clan is that? Someone asked. You all wouldn't believe me, so I'll show you all soon enough at the Chunin exams. What are you going on about? During the Chunin exams I will reveal my heritage in a way that there will be no denying it. I see. Shikaku stated. See what? A civilian asked. What's he going on about? He doesn't trust us. The Nara head spoke. So he wants to make a revelation in a way that can't be denied, in front of hundreds of people. For a shinobi that preaches secrecy, this action will be the opposite. Danzo stated. Naruto didn't even spare the bandaged man a glance. This, like any action I make, is for the good of the village. We're getting off topic here. Someone shouted. We wanted to know what his bloodline was and what it did, not who his family is. He has given us enough. The Hokage stated, speaking for the first time. Dismissed. But, dismissed. Jiraiya. Naruto spoke. Oh, so you've changed your mind on being my apprentice. The Sannin spoke. I don't know, that Kunoichi proved that I want to make a deal. Naruto spoke. I'm listening. I'll train under you for 3 weeks. Learning jutsu and skills that could be useful. And in exchange, you have the world's largest spy network. Naruto stated rather than asked. I need you to find someone. Now who could you need to find so badly that you'd make a deal that sold yourself? The Sannin asked. I need to find. Naruto had entered the small curry shop. It was a small place high in the mountains away from most civilizations. It was a miracle these people owned the shop at all instead of just being hermits. He looked at the scroll in hand. This mission has been in the pool for months, and would have been longer if not for Naruto. Mission. Kill band of murders called Kurosuki family. Rank. A. He would complete the mission, but that wasn't the reason he came. He had a more personal, but still beneficial reason for coming. Flashback. Well Naruto, I trained you as best as I could in 3 weeks. Jiraiya spoke. I must say, I did a good job of it too. You did, Naruto admitted. Though he wasn't impressed with Jiraiya as a man, he was astounded by him as a shinobi. The Sannin had really pushed Naruto hard for his training, though the blonde had to give him a little incentive in not Saint fooling around and having the blonde work things out. Now for my end of the deal. Jiraiya spoke. He tossed the blonde a scroll. The blonde gave it a firm once-over with his eyes as he took in all the information. It was a map of where he needed to go and who he was searching for. "Are you sure he's here?" Naruto asked. "Do you doubt me?" The Sannin asked offended. "I am Jiraiya, head of the largest spy network in the world. Nothing can stay hidden from me long." The man then put on a more serious face. "The details promise that it'll be a dangerous mission. Are you sure you want to do this alone?" "I'm sure," Naruto answered. "Well, this will get you there with no problem." Jiraiya spoke as he handed Naruto another scroll. "A mission?" "Yes, but Naruto," he spoke seriously, "if you fail to make it back in time, you will be disqualified and the council will tear into you. They'll try." Flashback end. "Anything I could get you, young man." Naruto was brought from his thoughts by a small elderly woman. "Yes, may I have the curry of life?" Naruto asked. "A comrade of mine recommended it." "Ah, you must be Lee Kun's friend," she stated after glancing at his headband. Somehow Lee Fu ND out he was coming in this directions and practically demanded that the blonde try the curry. He had thought Lee only got that excited when training or fighting was involved. Naruto watched as the woman shuffled to prepare his food. He felt confused as to why an old lady would be out here on her own, but decided not to question it. "Here you go," she spoke as she gave him the food. Before he could begin eating, the door was knocked in. In walked in a guy around his mid-teens and a few others behind, 6 in total. "Hey grandma, I'm hungry. I don't feed hoodlums," she answered without looking at him. "Hoodlums?" one asked with false offense. "Is that how you treat the people who saved the village from all those evil people? Only to force the men to work in a gold mine?" She retorted. "Hey, someone's got to pay for the Kurosuki family's services and further protection." He continued. Naruto just sat there, eating the curry. He was trying not to draw any attention to himself until he had further assessed the situation. This curry isn't bad, but not great, Naruto thought. Don't know why Lee was making such a, "Is it getting hot in here?" It was too much for the blonde to take. He leaned back and downed the water in one gulp, but it wasn't enough. If anything, it only fueled the furnace in his mouth. "Why Lee, why?" he gagged. "Why would you have me eat this? Looks like someone couldn't handle the curry of life." The youngest of the group taunted. Naruto didn't respond. He was busy trying to calm the fire in his body. "Hey, this kid's grandmother worked hard to make that," the man shouted as if he cared. "Hey, you hear me?" He made to grab the blonde. Naruto quickly grabbed the WCB in one hand and pinned the guy to the table with the other. Using a bit of chakra, he severed the entire limb. The man fell to the ground screaming before he fell silent as shock set in. He'd bleed to death in seconds. 2 members charged him with retractable Tekokage blades extended. He grabbed them both by their inner arm and pulled them close together. Running under their elevated bodies, he flipped them into a tangled pile. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. He hit them directly before they even had a chance to stand. 3 down, 3 to go, Naruto thought as he eyes the remaining members. 2 of them look angry at the fact that he killed their members while one was fearful. Raising his fingers, he shot the 2 in the head. That just left the one, the supposed grandson of the shop's owner. Naruto raised a hand and aimed a finger at him. The shop owner practically tackled Naruto's arm. The guy panicked as he scrambled to stand, only to trip over the blood, as he ran from the shop. Naruto turned his attention to the elderly woman whose desperate eyes looked into his empty ones. He broke contact and watched the retreating form of one of his targets. "Don't worry, I won't kill him," Naruto stated. "I need him to deliver a message anyway." He watched as the coward ran towards what he believed was safety. No, the man begged. "Please, don't do this." His pleas fell on deaf ears as Raiga, a former member of the 7 Swordsmen, began speaking a eulogy. As he spoke, his comrades began filling the pit with dirt. The man could only beg helplessly as he was buried alive. "Boss," a voice shouted in the distance. "Boss, Kurashi, why are you interrupting my funeral?" he asked with growing anger. "There's this guy," Kurashi answered. "He took out a group of the family by himself. One guy beat a group of us. Who was he?" Another member asked. "Don't know, but he had a leaf headband on." "Konoha," Raiga growled. "They must have sent a powerful shinobi to take on 5 of them." He turned to his comrades. Finish burying him, Raiga ordered. Then prepare another hole. We'll be having another funeral shortly. Naruto knew that the arrival of the one he was really after would only take a few minutes at most. That was all the time he needed. When Raiga entered the shop with his, "Is that him, Karashi?" Raiga asked. "That's him, boss." The former member of the Seven felt great anger and annoyance that a single guy who looked to be a genin could beat his underlings alone. That was until he looked closely. Whiskers, blonde hair, empty eyes. "I've heard of you," Raiga spoke. "You're the one that helped kill Zabuza. I should thank you. I hated that guy, and the rest of the Seven." A look of peace came over him. "I know, I'll give you a proper funeral instead of tossing you into a hole as planned. What do you think?" Naruto stared at the man, not giving anything away. "Raiga," a voice whispered, "something's wrong. I don't see him." What does that mean?" Raiga thought as he looked towards his back. Renara. Now, Naruto thought, his enemy has taken his eyes off of him. The attack didn't come from Naruto. "Grandma," Karashi shouted. It came from the shop owner. She lunged at Raiga with her fist pulled back, ready to punch the man in the face. Raiga simply leaned back, unimpressed with the sudden attack. That was until he fell to his knees in pain. There was an unbearable ringing sensation in his ear. He looked towards the old lady, his visions blurry, and he saw double. But he was certain he was seeing two blondes. One of them had a strange gauntlet on their arm. The old lady had been the blonde under a henge waiting to strike. The closest blonde charged with a kunai. He threw it at the swordsman. Raiga quickly cut through the metal with a swipe of his sword, the second blade impaling the blonde in the heart. The only warning he got was the other Naruto stepping back. The Naruto he had impaled grabbed Raiga's hand before he went up in a small explosion. The shock of it all along with the pain forced the man to release the blade. In an attempt to avoid most of the damage. "Renara," Raiga shouted in worry. "Are you okay?" "Raiga, I can't see him," the child stated frantically. "I don't know what's going on." "What is this?" Raiga thought critically. Hidden mist Ju. He attempted to form a mist to perform the silent killing technique. Unfortunately, Naruto was prepared as a powerful gust of air blew the mist away before it was fully formed. Naruto calmly stepped out of the shop, allowing Raiga to glimpse his glowing eyes. "How long has it been, Raiga?" Naruto spoke coldly. "How long has it been since you had to fight without someone being your eyes and ears? Since you had to rely on your own skills?" He raised the kiba blade lightly. "Then again, it was never your own skill, it was always the sword's. One of which is no longer in your possession. The plan's working," Naruto thought as he tried not to get excited. He managed to strike with the melody arm, throwing off the man's perception. The exploding clone was able to do a little damage, small though it was, and disarm him of one of the blades. Now let's see if the self-doubt is beginning to set in. He raised the kiba blade and sent a small amount of chakra into it, letting spark with power. He saw the flinch, it was working. "You think I'm that easy?" Raiga asked angrily. He should be rusty from relying on Ramnaru. Naruto thought, add to the affect of the melody arm and my bloodline. I might have a chance. He wasn't stupid enough to think that he could match one of the seven on his own. Zabuza alone had been a testimony to that. But if everything went according to plan, he had a chance. Wind style. Vacuum blade. Naruto breathed a blade of wind onto the WCB. The added air created a scimitar-type sword or wind and chakra. With lightning and wind on his side, he had an even greater advantage. Naruto ran towards the man with both swords swing inwards from both sides in a wide arc. He couldn't block both of them. Unfortunately, Raiga was step D forward into closer range with his sword, attempting to impale Naruto before he could reach. Naruto ducked and backstepped. Raiding his foot, he kicked Raiga in the chin. He's better than expected with only one sword, Naruto thought. He had hoped the man would feel inadequate with only one sword. Raiga pointed his sword at Naruto and an arc of lighting blasted towards him. The blonde ran to the side to avoid it, but the swordsman kept the stream going as it trailed behind the blonde. It was gaining too fast for Naruto to keep trying to outrun. Naruto looked at the blade in his hand. I wonder. Naruto stopped and held the blade out defensively. He felt the blast hit the blade, but that was it. It seems that the blade was not only good for conducting, but also filtering. That was good to know, but he couldn't rely on that. If an attack was large enough to consume him, then he'd be in trouble. He needed to get close so that the ranged attacks would be useless. Never lowering his sword, Naruto charged and blocked most of the smaller attacks. Once in range, he took a swipe at the Chunin's head only for him to duck. Raiga swung for Naruto's legs in an attempt to cripple him, but the blonde jumped, though not too high. Mid-descent, Raiga punched the blonde in the stomach, causing him to stumble. Naruto swung wildly, to put some distance between them. Raiga didn't backstep as planned, he just raised his sword to defend. Now, Naruto thought as he kicked Raiga's vulnerable stomach. The swordsman didn't move back much, but Naruto was able to use him as leverage to push himself away. Naruto placed both blades under his arm. He needed his hands free for a second. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 6 clones appeared. They began a frontal charge with their blades. Lightning Dragon Tornado. Without so much as a hand sign, Raiga pointed the sword towards Naruto. Out came a giant mass of lightning. Its name was apt. The lightning dragon rushed towards the mass of blondes, consuming and destroying them all. As he did so, he created a large smoke screen from the dirt and rubble. When it cleared, there was nothing, not even a body. "Where are you?" Raiga shouted. A pair of hands shot from the ground and clamped around his feet. Earth style. Headhunter Jutsu. The swordsman was pulled up to his neck in dirt as Naruto exited the ground. "Renara," he shouted. "I'm okay, Raiga," Renara assured. "What's happening?" "I'm ending this," Raiga snarled. The Chunin thrashed around as his sword arm tore itself from the ground. He raised the weapon high into the air. Lightning strike armor. A bolt of lightning hit the blade and traveled through his body. It encased him in a protective armor of pure lightning. This is what Naruto had been waiting for, Raiga's strongest attack. He only had one shot at this. Raiga swung his sword towards Naruto and sent a powerful wave of destruction at the blonde. Now, Naruto thought. Raiga didn't know what happened. 1 minute the blonde's death was in range, the next he was inches from his face. Wind style. Vacuum bomb. As a greater version of vacuum sphere, its name was apt. A large sphere of compressed wind was built up to the size of a person. He hit Raiga point blank. He watched as the swordsman gave a defiant scream as the wind blew him away. The man landed 10 feet away and was still. "Let's see if my plan worked," Naruto thought. The plan was to force Raiga to use his strongest attack that also protected him best. He would then hit him with his strongest wind jutsu, hoping to kill the man but protect the target. He walked forward at a quick pace so as not to get taken by surprise, but also give Raiga as little time as possible to recover. He looked down at the man. He was dead. Naruto fired a bullet into his body and the swordsman didn't flinch. Raiga of the 7 swordsmen was dead. Now for the real reason, Naruto thought. Naruto lifted the corpse over and examined the body under it. A small and frail-looking boy with blue hair. "Hello, cousin," Naruto greeted. Naruto had taken the boy towards the curry shop. They hadn't said a thing to each other. He placed the boy in a seat and looked around. "You can come out now," Naruto ordered. "Oh." Out came Kurashi, who had been cowering behind the counter. "Water, not you," Naruto spoke. This time the little shop owner stepped out. She looked at Naruto worriedly but expectantly. "I'm going to leave him here for a few hours," Naruto stated. "He is not to leave your sight. If he does, I kill Kurashi." "What?" Naruto turned his attention towards the coward with a blank look. "My mission is to end the Kurosuki family, which you are a part of," Naruto stated. "You are a fool and a coward. You have a chance at survival. Quit the family and do as I say, then I leave and hopefully you'll never see me again." The boy slowly nodded his head. They all watched as the blonde left the room. "I'm going to make you something to eat," the elderly lady stated to Renara before turning to her grandson. "Watch him." Once they heard her begin her work in the back, Renara turned to Kurashi. "Kurashi, I need you to take me to Raiga." He spoke in a whisper. "What?" Kurashi asked in a louder whisper. "Are you insane? Raiga's dead and that blonde will probably kill me if I do something like that." "Raiga isn't dead," Renara stated harshly. "That guy used a lot of tricks to beat Raiga, but he didn't finish the job." "I understand now. His eyes are like mine," Renara stated. But mine are stronger from using it since I was a small kid and near constantly since I met Raiga. I saw his life force, it was weak but there. He will die if we don't hurry to him. Raiga will probably reward you for this, especially if I tell him how you helped us. Renara tempted, maybe even make you his second in command. Kurashi was torn between the promise of power and his own self-preservation. What makes you think Raiga will be able to beat the blonde this time? He asked. Raiga was caught by surprise before. Renara answered confidently. This time he'll be ready. Kurashi made his choice. Naruto took a long, but steady breath. He had just finished killing the last of the Kurosuki family. Though they weren't really ninja, they had skill and numbers. Fighting Raiga had taken a lot out of him, they didn't help. Don't think I've ever felt chakra exhaustion before, he thought. He stood up and prepared to leave when he felt something off. He looked into the distance to see a cloud of mist heading towards him. It was full of chakra. This is the hidden mist jutsu, he thought as he took a defensive stance. The jutsu was already in affect, that meant he couldn't just blow it away like before. The chakra would just reaccumulate. Naruto drew both of the Kiba blades. Where are you? Naruto thought. He scanned the mist and saw several dozen chakra constructs that he used when hiding. It seemed that Renara was catching on to their bloodline's connection and weakness. No choice, he thought. He channeled his chakra through the blades and fired at the constructs. Each shot a simple but powerful bolt of lightning. Each target simply faded away on contact. He felt pain in his left hand. It hit a nerve that forced him to release the blade. He took a swipe in the direction of the figure that moved in the mist but felt the blade connect with nothing. He jumped several feet away. It would be foolish to stay in the same spot, especially if the enemy already got a blow in. He looked down at his arm. There was a kunai in his wrist. He took it out and threw it at one of the figures, just another construct. It seems that Renara figured out that our bloodline doesn't allow us to see each other. Naruto thought, there goes that advantage. He needed to get away from the mist, collect himself, find a safe place where he could make a new plan of attack. One of the figures in the mist struck at him. He raised the other Kiba blade in defense. It was Raiga striking with his newly returned sword. The blow was heavier than Naruto expected, but not as bad as with Zabuza. The rogue shinobi didn't break contact with Naruto, he only pressed more weight into his sword. Now, Raiga shouted. From behind the rogue Renara jumped out, making a leap for Naruto. He had a kunai poised at the blonde's heart. With no choice, Naruto released his grip on the Kiba blade to swap Renara away. Striking Raiga's hand, he freed himself from the grip and jumped away into the mist. Any chance of hiding or escaping through the mist were crushed when Raiga dispersed it. They were all completely exposed. Now you will face the thunder of the mist, Raiga shouted. Naruto fired a water bullet at the man. To his disappointment, Raiga simply deflected it with his sword. Nothing you do will stop me, Raiga shouted. I am invincible when I have my blades. Naruto smiled. It was as empty and creepy as he needed. You may be invincible, Naruto stated as he aimed a finger. But what about him? Raiga didn't need to turn his head to see who Naruto was talking about. Renara, the only thing the man cared about. You won't hurt him, I won't let you, Raiga shouted as he raised his swords high into the air. Fangs of lightning. At his command, a large bolt of lightning struck the ground where Naruto had been standing. He had jumped away in time to avoid death. He never took his eyes or fingers off of Renara. This is my last shot, Naruto thought. I need to psyc him out. Make him think my attention is on the kid. He fired several shots at Renara, which Raiga intercepted and blocked. Stop that, Raiga demanded. Fight me and die. Exactly, I'll die, Naruto stated as he took aim. But so will he. Shadow clone jutsu. Several dozen clones appeared and jumped away in groups. Each of them had their eyes and fingers trained on Renara. Stop that. Fangs of lightning. Raiga summoned several bolts of lightning down to strike the groups of Narutos. They hadn't attempted to dodge. They acted as if they didn't notice anything but Renara. When the original was left alone, his sights were still on the child. Much to the anger of Raiga. Enough. He pointed both blades directly at Naruto. Finally the blonde dropped his hands and pulled them together to form hand signs. Earth style. Earth dome. As the name stated, a dome of pure earth formed around Naruto. This gave him the advantage in nature defense. But it wasn't impenetrable, even from lightning. If Raiga placed enough chakra in a focused attack, then the shield would crumple away. Just as the rogue planned on doing. Fangs of lightning. Several bolts of lightning struck the dome. There was no sign of it giving, though that didn't deter Raiga. He summoned bolt after bolt to strike the dome's shield. A crack appeared. I need to act now, Naruto thought as he began weaving hand signs. Fangs of lightning. This time the dome not only gave, it shattered under the power. The rogue heard a satisfying cry of pain from the blonde, before it was cut short. Raiga, Renara whimpered from behind him. Raiga turned and paled. Naruto was there with a kunai to Renara's throat. One chance, drop the swords now or I'll kill him. Why you're bluffing, is that your final answer? Naruto asked. Yes. Naruto raised his kunai before driving it deep into Renara's throat. There was a small twitch before the body went still. He let the corpse fall to the ground in a heap. Renara, the rogue shouted in despair. Why you bastard? He raised his swords high intending to end the fight only to freeze up before falling over. Once his corpse fell, the once thought dead Naruto was revealed to be standing with a finger trained on Raiga. He fired 2 more shots into the swordsman's head. With a nod to the original, he dissolved into a pile of mud. The real Naruto turned his attention towards the corpse of Renara. He raised his hands into a single sign. Release. He dispelled the genjutsu to reveal a gagged and crying Renara. Renara stared at the campfire he and Naruto were using. They were on opposite sides of the flame. The blonde slept while the kid sat there with an empty look in his eyes, one that masked his despair. Naruto had told him that he was taking them back to Konoha. I could do it now, he thought. He can't see me with his bloodline. I could finish him off before I join Raiga. He stood as silently as possible. He looked around and saw a relatively heavy-looking rock. He grabbed it and crept over to the blonde with the stone held high. You have one chance, Naruto stated without looking up, or moving period. Then I'll break your hands and legs and drag you back to my village. Renara looked down at the blonde in fear, his whole body was shaking. Eventually he dropped the rock and fell to his knees and cried. Why? Renara asked through tears. Why go through all this trouble just to kidnap me? Naruto didn't answer immediately. He sat up and looked at the child as he cried. He unsealed one of the Kiba blades. He tossed one towards the child. Use that, Naruto advised. Train as hard as you can and try to kill me so that you can reclaim the other. Who knows? Naruto spoke. You might succeed. You might also come to enjoy Konoha. Naruto though to himself. Make a few friends and learn to call the place home, helping ensure the Namikaze clan is linked. The council won't deny you since you aren't tainted with a demon. Naruto hoped that the boy, like Haku, would use their hatred against Naruto to better the village. If not, if either became a threat to the village, then he'd have to kill them. Naruto Uzumaki returning from mission. Naruto spoke to the guards, the eternal Chunins. Welcome back, you're just in time too. Azumo stated. Tomorrow's the start of the finals. Naruto nodded and went on his way. I miss his pranking days. One of the Chunin muttered. It made this tolerable. The two sat down as they continued to monitor the entrance to their great village. He glued us to our seats. Didn't he? Yep. I'm back Hokage-sama. Naruto greeted as he entered the office. Oh. Welcome back Naruto-kun. The third greeted kindly. And who's this fellow? That is going to take a long time to explain and I need to speak with the council. Naruto spoke seriously. Hiruzen sighed. He could already feel a headache coming along. Greetings. Naruto spoke as he nodded to the clan heads. Why have you called this meeting? Before we begin, I'd like to request that the civilian council be expelled. Naruto spoke calmly. This is entirely clan matters. The civilians on the council gave an uproar. They were silenced by Naruto flashing his eyes and placing his hand on his newly acquired sword. This action angered Renara. Using Raiga's weapon for such a fear tactics was demeaning. In his anger, his eyes began glowing as he glared at the blonde. Something the civilians and shinobi noticed. Good, Naruto thought. The seed has been planted. Since the boy is too young, how about he come with one of us? A civilian asked. He would be bored to tears here, listening to politics. Naruto nodded and Renara made his way to the civilians. Any time not. By Naruto was good in Renara's opinion. Once the civilians have been escorted out, it was time for business. But first, Naruto, why did you just send a small boy off with a bunch of strangers? Someone asked. Strangers that don't like you. If anything happens to Renara, then I will be within my rights to execute each and every last one of them. Naruto answered coldly. Then maybe this ill could select a few civilian with some common sense. Naruto-san, why is it that every time I see you there's a new person with you? Sume asked. She had meant it to lighten the mood but sighed at the answer. Same reason. Naruto answered. That there was Renara. Naruto introduced. He's my cousin. There was a moment of silence that filled the room. Why would you bring him here? Danzo asked. I brought Renara here so that the village will have the bloodline in its possession and not an enemy nation. Naruto answered. I'm going to call Bull. Danzo stated, breaking character. You know that he'd be wanted as a weapon or used to breed more with your bloodline. If not those, people will use him for prestige and other political reasons. That's exactly what I want. Naruto stated. When people find out about him and his connections to me, they'll go ballistic. The blonde smirked. They'll also see his hatred for me and try to use it. People will want his bloodline mixed with theirs for both physical and political power. Naruto stated. They'll want to make connections with the clan so that theirs will grow, effectively increasing our own. Why not try all of this on yourself? The Nara head spoke. Money, power, women, you're literally passing up a chance to have it all. Naruto reached up to his collar and showed the curse seal that all of them were familiar with. Orochimaru placed this seal on me, and we all know that it means trouble. He spoke. While not only that, I have my tenant and that was enough trouble for me. When people find out about Orochimaru's curse seal, and they will, they'll hate me even more. Naruto stated. If that's possible, they'll call for my head, but they won't get it. I have not broken any laws and I am shinobi who can and will defend himself. But here comes sweet and gullible Ramaru. Danzo spoke. He's young, determined and full of potential. Best of all, he's male, capable of spreading his seed an incalculable amount of times. The CRA would no doubt be enacted. This sounds a lot like Sasuke Uchiha. Yes, Naruto admitted. So you want to make another Sasuke? Danzo asked. No, Sasuke is power-hungry and blinded by revenge. No one ever tried to point him in any direction, they just gave in to his demands. Naruto answered. Renara here will not be treated like a prince as the Uchiha was. Instead, people will treat him like a tool, a weapon. So you're basically making a weapon against you? The third asked, confused as much as the rest of the clan heads. For you. It's not for me, it's for the village. Naruto stated without missing a beat. I thought that it'd be nice to have a fail-safe in case things became crazy. Many nodded in understanding. Rather to die on your own terms than through some ludicrous act, many shinobi know. Many warriors throughout history would rather go their own way. Some wanted to go peacefully in their sleep. Some wanted to go out in a blaze of glory on the battlefield, where their names would be sung. Some just wanted to know that they left a mark, to have made a difference in their lives. You're doing a lot to plan your death. I never said that he'd win. Naruto stated casually. Should know, when the day comes that he tries to kill me, I don't plan to just roll over and die for him. It would make this whole thing a wasted effort. It will be a fight to the death. Both of us giving all we can. Though I plan to have our family name secured. We may be gone by then, but our legacy will remain. Genius. Pure genius. Danzo thought. Naruto plans to have the people give Renara the means to take him down, effectively building him up. They're going to basically place him on a pedestal of their own will. He's not planning for any short-term glory. He's thinking long-term for his family. In a short amount of time. Only 2 or 3 generations top. It seems that the third was having the same thoughts as his, but he was taking it differently. What are you up to, Naruto? Hiruzen asked aloud. You've just told your entire plan to the clan heads, what makes you think they'll act as your puppets? Puppets are toys, Hokage-sama, I'm not playing with them. He answered honestly. They're tools, for their village and for their own families. Many of the clan heads agreed that they had a responsibility to their families and/or village before themselves. Still, they now know my plan now, so they can either get on board and have their own clans furthered as any good leader and family head would. Naruto spoke as he eyed each clan head. Here was a moment of silence as tension began building at the obvious threat words hung in the air. Or, someone asked, are they lose out of what could be the largest political move in their lifetime? Naruto answered, the civilians are no doubt already interested in him, and it's only a matter of time before they realize they could use him. There was another pause as the clan heads already began forming plans in their heads. Ways that they could benefit from such an alliance. We ask you again, Naruto, why not do all this for yourself? Hiashi asked. Forget your burdens. Most would use that as an excuse to say they deserved the power. Others wouldn't care and would take it. Loyalty to family and village only goes so far when there's no love from any side. And you've stated that's there's a lot of love lacking for your life. All eyes were on Naruto as the blonde began shifting uncomfortably in his spot, not meeting his gaze. Gone was the cold and calculating shinobi, skilled in the arts of death and manipulation. Now he was the teenage boy with a lot to learn of the world. What was that, Naruto-san? Eyes, RL friend. Once more, just a little louder. I only have eyes for my girlfriend. There was another pause as people tried to process the words that now hung in the air. Hiruzen chuckled at his surrogate grandson as the blonde blushed. It seems that some of the old Naruto is still in there. He thought, good, ha 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 ha. Inoichi laughed so hard he could have broken something. You're giving up all this for Ino. When she finds out about this, she's going to His laughter was cut short as he began paling at the very ideas. Oh my lord, it's best we don't tell her. Naruto spoke as he rubbed the back of his head. Agreed. Naruto was on a roof, silent as he trailed his target. It took him a third of a second to realize he wasn't alone. What can I do for you, Danzo? Naruto asked. The boy. What of him? Naruto asked casually. What's to stop him from becoming like the Uchiha? Danzo asked. Everything you've stated was good for your clan and its future, even benefiting other clans, but you've never stated the boy. He could become worse than the Uchiha, arrogant and unstable. A risk. What's to stop Renara from becoming like the Uchiha? Naruto asked with a growing smile. The first all day. That. He pointed to Renara, who was walking behind a certain ice user. He had saw her blade and remembered it from Raiga informing him of the other 7. But since the wielder wants Zabuza, his curiosity was piqued. Why are you following me, kid? Haku asked, kind but firm. I wanted to ask about that blade of yours. Renara spoke. It belonged to someone special to me. Haku spoke sadly. Someone who was taken from me. I know the feeling. Renara spoke as he showed her one of the Kiba blades. A smile formed on both their lips as they began a conversation. Their topic obviously on a certain blonde, a topic that could easily lead to revenge. A partnership that could lead to friendship. That's what will stop Renara from becoming like the Uchiha. Naruto answered. A bond. Finally, the day of the Chunin exams have come. Thou, GHT Haku as she scammed the Colosseum for Naruto. Haku-chan, are you sure this will work? Renara asked. Of course. Haku answered smiling. She had been doing that a lot since he arrived. Here, I can finally finish off Naruto for the both of us, then we see a Renara-kun. Someone called. They two bloodline users turned to see members of the civilian council waving him over. Even a few of the women giving him certain looks. Renara wasn't an idiot, he helped Raiga lead the entire gang after all. He knew that the people on the council were trying to get in his favor for his bloodline and use him against Naruto. He was fine with that, he could use it to his and Haku's advantage. Your match is about to begin, he stated as he looked up and smiled. Good luck, Haku-chan. Thank you, Renara-kun. Haku jumped down to the arena where Naruto was waiting. This was it. This has been too long coming, Uzumaki. Haku stated with a cold smile. Naruto was silent, already analyzing the situation as critically as possible. Water and ice jutsu were useless thanks to her bloodline. He didn't risk using the Kiba blade, there was a high chance that the moisture would carry the electricity back to him. The proctor could feel the tension in the air, he wouldn't hold this off any longer. Let he first match of the Chunin exams, Naruto Uzumaki vs Haku, begin. Haku made the first move. Jumping into the air, she began weaving hand signs. Water style. Great cannonball jutsu. She fired several large masses of water from her mouth at Naruto. To his shock, half of them froze into hard masses as soon as they were on their way to him. The blonde ran to the side to avoid the attack and fired several water bullets. They collided with some of the ice masses and shattered them. Haku then changed her aim to ahead of the blonde, forcing him back in the opposite direction. He came to a sudden halt. He couldn't move his feet. Naruto looked down and saw that he was stopped by his now wet feet being frozen, holding him in place. He looked up just in time to see Haku swing the large sword at him. Haku felt a wave of rage when she saw that she had cut through a log. Naruto had used the replacement jutsu at the last minute. Where is? Naruto appeared behind her. Haku managed to raise her sword up just in time to defend from several shuriken. Secret jutsu. 1,000 needles of death. All of the liquid that Haku and Naruto created in their attacks began converging at Haku's command. A literal 1,000, maybe more, needles began to form from the watered ground and converge in a wave against Naruto. No way to dodge, no way to block, Naruto thought as he began weaving hand signs. Need to counter. Fire style. Dragon flame bomb. Naruto released a high-pressure stream of fire at the mass of Onko. Ming needles that both melted and evaporated each of them. He didn't stop there. He turned his flames towards Haku. Using what little moisture she could find in the air, Haku formed a wall of ice in front of her. The flames hit the mirror and a crack began forming immediately. She hadn't had the sufficient moisture for a decent defense. Bracing Zabuza's sword in front of her as a shield was all shish. He could do in hopes of survival as the wall melted. They both backed away to prepare for the next assault. Damn, he dried up all the moisture in the air with that fire of his. Haku thought she could create more water-based jutsu from inside herself as she did before, but that took too much chakra. She couldn't risk it. That left her with only her wind chakra, and she wasn't too proficient with that. What to do? Haku though. Shadow clone jutsu. Naruto summoned 2 more clones to fight alongside him. He could see that she was thinking of a game plan. He wouldn't give her the time. Running as one, they charged her. The ones on either side of the original split up to cover both of Haku's roots. She could only go backwards. Haku lunged at the one directly in front of her. While mid-attack, the clone to her left lunged as well and struck at her. She barely managed to pull the large sword up in time for a defense. Naruto's blow, while blocked, still sent her careening to the ground. As she landed, she rolled on impact to lessen the blow. While mid-roll, she let loose a single senbon that pierced one of the clones. 1 down, 2 to go. Haku spun the sword to the side, hoping to cut Naruto in half. The blonde ducked in mid-blow. He kicked the large blade up, throwing Haku off balance. With all her might, she brought the sword down, but Naruto had already rolled away. You're good Haku, but no Zabuza. One of the Narutos, chastised. He could swing that blade one-handed as easily as a ninja with a tanto. You on the other hand need both hands to swing in a single direction, where you. Shut up, Haku shouted as she swung at him. I won't be chastised by the one who killed the most important person to me. Now angrier than before, she stood up and attacked the one who had spoke. Good, Naruto thought. Keep her angry. Haku swung again. This time the blonde vanished from her sight. The sudden weight increase of the sword caught her attention. Naruto was actually using the large B blade as a surface as he stood on the back end. Without warning, Naruto threw a tagged kunai at the ice user. At such close range, she wouldn't be able to dodge, at least not with the sword. With no choice, she had to release it and roll out of the way. To her shock, the tag never went off. It's a fake, she realized. Now Naruto had her sword. Had Zabuza's sword. Is that all you care about, killing me? Naruto asked as he watched her shake in anger. Yes, she answered truthfully. You really are his weapon. Naruto stated, sharp, but broken. Haku's face clenched in pain as she fell to a knee. Her leg was bleeding. The last of the clones had shot her from behind. Unprepared for it, she was hit. As she looked at the wound, she took her eyes off of Naruto. He kicked her down form, knocking her to her back. The fight's over, Naruto stated to the proctor. She's been disarmed and is temporarily crippled, she can't continue. The winner is Naruto Uzumaki. You know what you need to do, Haku? Naruto asked as he dropped the weapon. I'm going to give you the advice someone should have given the Uchiha when he became crazed. Get a life. You kill my master, she states as she seethes in anger. Then you tell me to get a life. Yes, Naruto answers calmly, because you need to live for something other than revenge. It's all I have, she shouts. Really? Naruto asked as he looked to the audience. Haku followed his gaze and saw that they were on Renara. The boy was glaring at the blonde with as much hate as Haku. You stay away from him, Haku ordered. Naruto looked back at her and gave her a smile, though it lacked any emotion. That was amazing, Naruto-kun. Ino cheered. Thanks, Ino-chan. Naruto smiled. You're up next. How do you feel? A little nervous, she admitted. Sasuke's no slouch, and he was trained by Kakashi while I had, she sighed. Ebisu, I'm sorry, I would have trained with you, but Ino placed a finger on his lips, silencing him. You had things to do, I understand. Naruto smiled at her. He liked this Ino. The old Ino would have thrown a fit about her boyfriend ignoring her. This Ino was both understanding and competent. Next up is Sasuke Uchiha versus Ino Yamanaka. The proctor announced. Ino took a deep breath and made her way down. As Ino made her way down the halls towards the arena, she was stopped by two men. They looked to be civilians, but had swords. So, how well do you think you could really do against an Uchiha? One of them asked. Oh, I think my chances are pretty good, Ino stated calmly. That's too bad, seeing as you'll never get the chance to fight him. The other stated. And why is that? Ino asked. Our boss has a lot of money on that Uchiha kid winning, and we can't let a small fry like you get in the way of that. The first explained. Well, it looks like your boss is going to lose every dime, because I intend to win, Ino stated confidently. With no more words, they charged her. Ino made a single seal. Mind destruction jutsu. She aimed it at the apparent leader of the two, who also happened to be the closest. He froze, much to his companion's confusion. Hey, you, was as far as he got before He was almost impaled by his partner's sword. Hey, what the hell? Ino chose this time to release her control of the man. His partner swung the sword in retaliation and he managed to block the blow. Hey wait, was as far as he got. His partner wouldn't give him a chance to talk, it was a fight to the death. Let them fight, Ino thought as she passed them, she had a match to win. Ino stood patiently in the arena, waiting for Sasuke to arrive. However, his patience was wearing thin, and so was the audience. If Sasuke Uchiha doesn't arrive in the 1 minute, he is disqualified. The proctor announced. Hokage-sama, surely you could give the Uchiha a little more time. The Kazekage spoke. Many came to see him battle my son. I'm sorry Kazekage-sama, but if he can't be on time for the match then he's not Chunin material. The third stated. Besides, there's no certainty that he would face your son. After all, he would still need defeat young Ino. The third Hokage nodded towards the proctor, signaling him to continue. Sasuke Uchiha has been disqualified, winner is Ino Yamanaka. The proctor announced. The civilians and shinobi alike booed, but for different reasons. The civilians booed for the lost chance to see the Uchiha's skills, while the shinobi did so out of shame at the Uchiha. Ino made her way back to Naruto. What's wrong, Ino-chan? Naruto asked as she sulked. I did all that training for nothing. She sighed. A victory is a victory. Don't let pride get in the way, Naruto advised. Besides, you already had some action in the halls. Nice job by the way. At that Ino blushed. He had been watching her. She had wanted her skills kept secret. Plus, you have the others to fight, me included, he stated with a smile. Ino paled. The next match, Genma announced. Shino vs. Gara. Proctor. I surrender. Shino spoke. Winner by forfeit, Gara. The proctor spoke. Next match, Canuck. I forfeit as well. Konkuro spoke. What a drag, Shikamaru stated. Oh come on, you don't even have to fight. Ino screamed. I thought you'd be happy. I am, but if I had known he'd forfeit, I wouldn't have spent so much time planning my fight. Ino promptly face-faulted. Next match, Neji Hyuga vs Tamari of the Sand. The proctor spoke irritably. Or do one of you want to forfeit as well? You might want to do so now, pretty boy. Tamari spoke. You won't get another chance. Or do you want to end up like your teammates? You should surrender. Neji advised. Fate has declared me victorious. Why would I do that? Tamari asked. I already beat one of your teammates and my brother beat the other. Might as well go 3 for 3. I am a Hyuga, Neji stated as he activated his bloodline. And a pervert, Tamari shouted as loud as she possibly could. The reaction was immediate. Almost everyone knew of the Byakugan's ability to see through objects. They clan bragged about it enough. To have a female shout a title towards a male, not matter the age, had an outward affect. He's a filthy pervert. We came to see a fight, not a filthy child. The audience began booing as one, only the Hyuga were silent. Mostly because they wanted to keep it hidden that they had the ability to see through clothes as well. Wait, I assure you I wasn't. The audience began throwing things. Please, hear me out. He begged. I was just. Now, Tamari thought. She waved her fan at the Hyuga while he was distracted. Or at least she hoped he was. He was not. Neji smirked as he turned around and stood his ground with ease. Clever, Neji stated. Have the audience turn on me and attack while I was distracted. It would have worked on anyone but a Hyuga. He activated his bloodline again. My eyes see all. I bet they do, Tamari stated as she bashfully covered herself. How is he still standing? Tamari wondered. Did he withstand it? Counter it? Tamari began looking around the Hyuga for any signs of how he escaped her attack unharmed. She noticed that the ground around his feet was different. A circle. Ah, I see you noticed. Neji stated. The Hyuga's ultimate defense, more impenetrable than even Gara's sand defense. Is that true? Tamari asked herself. A month ago she would have thought such a claim impossible, but now. Well, it won't matter. Tamari thought confidently. You can't hurt me if you can't touch me, and Hyugas only use taijutsu. Much to her shock, he smirked at her. That would be true, he admitted. Had I not prepared for this match. 8 trigrams vacuum palm. Neji thrusted his arm out towards her and her weapon went flying away. Wah! Neji did so a second time, this time hitting her and sending her fly the other way. Now with her separated from her weapon, Neji charged. Shit, have to get to my weapon. Tamari thought. In retrospect, a giant fan as your only weapon isn't that smart. Tamari got up and ran for the fan as fast as she could, but Neji had already started after her. With her focus on the fan, she didn't notice him thrust his arm again. This time, causing a rift between her and her weapon. You were within my field of vision. Neji warned. 8 trigrams 64 palm. 2 palm. 4 palm. 8 palm. 16 palm. 32 palm. 64 palm. Each of the attacks hit its mark, sealing her chakra ways. I warned you, fate has declared me the winner. Neji stated. Now everyone froze when a puff of smoke appeared in the middle of the arena. Yo, are we late? Kakashi asked. Everyone, shinobi, civilians, invaders, everyone face-faulted. Without him facing Gara, I have no distraction. This may be my only shot. Orochimaru thought. Need to do it now. He started the invasion. An invasion, trying to forcibly conquer another's land. That is what the Leaf Village was experiencing. Naruto was torn. Find and protect the Hokage. No doubt getting orders to help the village. Go after the enemy ninja, vast though they were. Go after Gara. Naruto knew what he was and the danger he posed. Sasuke had ran off after him. No doubt he would need assistance. Find and protect INO, the light of his life. I just wish I could help every. The blonde smacked himself on the head. Moments like this made him feel as if he had learned nothing after becoming a ninja. Shadow Clone Jutsu. He summoned several dozen clones, each one going to a different direction. He'd have them deal with as many enemy invaders as he could, assisting anywhere and everywhere that they could. As he ran, he fired several water bullets at the enemy shinobi. You'd be surprised at how many fell because of their fighting tunnel vision. 2 focused on the one in front to notice the one running beside. INO, Naruto called. He saw that she was surrounded by several enemy shinobi. He landed by her side. Naruto-kun. INO called. Don't worry, I'm here to help," he called. Ino looked at him with a glare that made him flinch. "You think I can't handle myself?" she asked, angrily. "Now's not the time to." "I think now's the perfect time," she declared. Ino turned to the enemies, who had been amused by their little quarrel, and formed a hand sign. Mind destruction jutsu. Naruto watched as the enemy began fighting among each other, while Ino stood there proudly. "See Naruto-kun, I can take care of myself," she stated before her gaze softened. "Now do what you're supposed to do and save the village." Naruto looked at his girlfriend and smiled. She had turned from that raving Sasuke fangirl into a fine kunoichi. Naruto sighed. His greatest worry was, he could move on. He needed to focus on the biggest threat to the village. Gara. Naruto ran off. "He could have at least given me a kiss goodbye," Ino muttered. Renara was running around in the chaos of the invasion in search of Haku. His movements made it seem as if he were lost. He wasn't. He was just taking the most direct route to her while avoiding the enemy. When he found her, she was surrounded by several dead sand and sound ninja, bisected by her master's blade. She was kneeling down by them, unmoving. He moved closer, but she made no indication that she noticed him. Finally, he was in front of her and saw her face, streaked with tears. "Are you okay, Haku-chan?" he asked, worried. "I've failed," she stated lowly. "What?" he asked. "I've failed as a weapon," she stated as the tears continued. "I failed Zabuza-sama. I failed to keep him alive, I've failed to avenge him, and now I've even failed you." She pulled his small body into a tight hug. Her grip on his small frame was painful, but the heartache she felt hurt him even more. Not even Raiga had this much inner pain when they had first met. He grabbed onto her, his own eyes burning with tears. "You haven't failed me, Haku-chan," he stated honestly. "I have," she declared. "I've failed to kill him, he's on. Lee gotten stronger and will keep getting stronger." "No, Haku-chan, I've failed you," he stated. "I failed Raiga. I was supposed to be his eyes and ears, but I couldn't be that for you. You took on both our burdens, I'm sorry. But that's my purpose as a weapon," she declared. "Then be my weapon," he shouted. "Be my weapon, and I'll be your eyes and ears. I'll fight with you, and you with me." Haku looked at the boy in her arms. So much like her. Once tools, now aimless. She couldn't help but chuckle. A broken tool with eyes and ears. She chuckled. He soon joined in. Their little moment was ruined by the arrival of several sand shinobi. They began surrounding the duo, readying themselves to move in for the kill. Haku turned around, allowing Renara onto her back. He was happy to be in a position he had grown accustomed to. "Haku-chan," Renara spoke, "let's give them a funeral." Mist began pouring off of the two bloodline users. 8 points. Haku spoke with a cold chuckle, her voice echoing in the mist. Heart, lungs, liver. Naruto arrived on the scene just in time to strike Gara, who had been moving in on Sasuke for the kill. "Stay back, Uchiha, I'll take it from here," Naruto ordered. "I don't need your help," Sasuke declared before he fell to his knees. "You're fighting an enemy whose chakra is rising while yours is nearly empty," Naruto stated. "You need my help." Naruto looked at Gara, who had taken a mini Shukaku form. His defense is strong, Naruto thought, and he hasn't lost any speed. If anything, he's faster if he could keep up with Sasuke. Gara lunged forward and shattered the tree branch that Naruto had been standing on. The blonde had managed to jump away with the Uchiha. "You, mother wants your blood," Gara declared. "Only one way to beat Gara, and I have to be fast," Naruto thought as he signaled the attack. Several kunai hit the sand shinobi in the back before the tags on them detonated. They weren't enough to break through the sand defense, but there were enough to knock the sand host off balance. "What?" Gara declared as he turned around to see who had struck him. This was a fatal mistake. He took his eyes off of Naruto. Now, Naruto thought. Naruto ran forward, attack prepared, Rasengan. He hit Gara directly in his stomach. The sand shinobi was thrown back by the sheer power of the blast. He crashed through the first tree into the one behind it, knocking him unconscious. "It's over," Naruto stated as he turned to Sasuke. "Now let's." He was cut off by the sudden explosion of chakra, but it wasn't chakra. It was too wild and angry, demon chakra. "I'm free," The sand began to swarm around Gara like a hurricane as it began accumulating on him. Shit, Naruto thought. That explains the rings around his eyes. Gara can't sleep, it would free the demon in him. Naruto stepped back as he stared at the fully manifested one-tailed demon, Shukaku the Sand Spirit. Plan. Naruto thought frantically. I need a plan. All of his attacks were meant to kill. But he had few widespread attacks for something so massive. He was really regretting not signing the Toad contract. Okay Naruto, calm down. He mentally ordered. He's just another threat to the village. A giant threat, made of sand. From a boy, how the fuck is this my life? No amount of shinobi training can really prepare someone for something like this. Kill a few people and get paid. Die for the village and be remembered. Not fight a demon the size of the village's monument. Naruto released a calming, albeit frustrated, sigh. Well, time start. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Naruto summoned dozens of clones and had them begin scrambling around the demon. Oh look, more for me to kill, Shukaku declared. The Naruto began searching for any weak points with his bloodline. He found one obvious weakness staring him in the face. Gara was limply hanging from the demon's head. Must not be able to hold him inside because of air, Naruto thought. Several of the blondes ran forward with the Kiba blade ready. As soon as they landed on the demon, the very surface of his body lunged and impaled the clones, dispelling them. Can't touch the surface, so I have to attack from a distance, Naruto thought. The original jumped back and allowed the remainder of his clones to attack head-on to create a distraction. He watched as Shukaku began to destroy them with glee. Raising his Kiba blade high, he began channeling chakra through it into the sky. Fangs of lightning. The clouds over Shukaku began to darken as the chakra began to build. Bolts of pure lightning began to rain down on the sand demon, tearing its body into chunks. Unfortunately, as they fell and burst into sand, they began reconfiguring on the demon. All the while Shukaku had raised a defense around Gara, protecting him from the attack. It was a pointless effort. No choice, Naruto thought. He had wanted to wait until he had mastered this technique, but duty called. Only going to get one shot at this. Naruto drew a tri-pronged kunai, the very one that earned his father the name Yellow Flash. With precise aim, he threw it at the sleeping sand shinobi. As he expected, a small collection of sand blocked the kunai inches from Gara. It was close enough. In a flash of orange, Naruto was upon Gara. Five-pronged seal. He hit Gara in stomach with the seal. Gara's eyes snapped open as he screamed in pain. The seal burning itself into his body. Clunks of the sand demon's body began falling apart as it was returned to its seal. No, Shukaku cried out. I just got out. As the final parts of the demon fell to pieces, Naruto jumped away. Out of the corner of his eyes he saw as a flash of blonde caught hold of Gara before he fell to the ground. It was Temari, though she didn't look good. Shish. He was still suffering from the effects of Neji's chakra sealing attack. Naruto made his way towards them. Temari tried to run with her brother, but she was still in too poor a condition to help. She grabbed her fan and prepared to fight. No, stay away, Gara cried out. Naruto stopped and looked the sand shinobi in the eyes. It's painful, isn't it? Naruto asked. What are you? The loneliness, it's almost too painful to bear. Naruto continued as he began moving again. Don't worry Gara, you won't be lonely ever again. The Hokage. He was battling Orochimaru, the traitorous Sannin. Hokage-sama, Naruto called. This barrier. It was a powerful one, he could tell just by looking at it. I can't break it. Naruto looked at the Chunin and Anbu gathered around, watching the fight. Has anyone tried to get inside? Naruto asked. We can't, it's sealed from all sides. And Anbu stated. Naruto continued to look around at the barrier. Searching for any weakness, his eyes were drawn to the bottom of the barrier. Naruto stepped back, an idea already forming in his mind. The building, Naruto stated. What? Someone asked. The building, I'll collapse it and the barrier will break. Naruto stated. The sound shinobi will be forced to move or be crushed under the rubble. You can strike then. Kid, these arenas are designed to withstand the most powerful of blows, with the cage booth being the strongest point. The Anbu stated as if it were obvious. You'd need a barrage of A-rank destructive jutsu just to do any significant damage. I am the host of the Nine Tails. Naruto stated. Destructive power is something I have in spades. The Anbu looked towards one another, contemplating the idea. It was pretty logical. They nodded in agreement. As one they back once Naruto began forming hand signs. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. Summoned a dozen clones that each took a spot at a weak point in the foundation. Each began forming a Rasengan, double its normal size. Big Ball Rasengan Barrage. As each attack hit home and destroyed the building, the Anbu looked on in awe. Isn't that the Force technique? Just as Naruto declared, the sound shinobi broke the barrier to save their lives. The Anbu wasted no time in charging in. Before Naruto could join them, an intense pain washed over his body. His arm went to the seal on his neck. No, not now. This was probably the worst possible time for it to act up. The pain was so intense that his clones were feeling it. They fell over in similar positions to him. Don't think for a second your power is infinite. A dark voice whispered, you have a staggering amount. But even that's drawing near. Naruto realized that everything that the voice was whispering was true. He had been using a lot of chakra. Too much. First with his fight against Haku. And with barely a break, he went against the Sand Demon and wasted a lot of chakra trying to get through its defense. And that doesn't even count the chakra he wasted making the clones to help the other shinobi. Now he just broke down a reinforced stadium. How could I be so careless? He mentally chastised himself. Do you want more power? The dark whisper asked. I can give it to you. Already Naruto could feel the vile chakra being pumped into his system. It was invigorating. Gone was all traces of his exhaustion. He felt stronger than he'd ever have before. Go. With the Kiba blade in one hand and the white chakra blade in the other, Naruto charged forward. He passed the Anbu that struggled against the Sound Four and what he saw stopped him in his tracks. There was his village leader. The symbol of the village's strength, its very pillar, the man who raised and cared for him when no one else would. There was Hiruzen Sarutobi, down for the count. Naruto was so shocked that the bloodlust he had felt growing suddenly stopped. He could hardly hear the snake Sannin call for a retreat. Medic, Naruto shouted. I need a medic nin. The Anbu began surrounding Air leader and removing his clothes to get a clear view of the damage. It was then that Naruto noticed the markings on the third stomach. It was oddly similar to his. Naruto paled as he began deciphering it. He knew what it was. What it meant. It seemed that the Anbu didn't as they began placing their glowing palms on his body in an attempt to heal him. They were making a useless attempt. It seemed that they realized that barely a few moments in before the stopped in their efforts. We're sorry Hokage-sama, one spoke. There's nothing we can do. The third opened his eyes and looked at Naruto. He gave the blonde a small smile. One that Naruto wouldn't tolerate. It was the smile of a man accepting his end. No, you don't get to go yet. Naruto shouted. Not like this, Uzumaki-san. A voice called from behind. Naruto didn't even bother to turn around. We need a better medics, Kat-san. Naruto spoke urgently. Uzumaki-san. Kat spoke. It's no. Naruto shouted, cutting her off. He's not going to die. Not here. Not like this. The blonde just couldn't allow it. He needs to be at home, surrounded by his family. Comfortable. Not. He couldn't even keep speaking. Not in a war. Not while his home was being destroyed. He's the pinnacle of our village's will of fire, one of our greatest shinobi. She whispered in his ear. He's surrounded by the ones he sought to protect, his family. He died for the village. He did his duty. The blonde wasn't listening. He pushed past the Anbu and dropped to his knees next to the man that was like a grandfather to him. Naruto placed his hand on his fading leader's chest. He began activating one of his bloodline's most dangerous abilities. He began transferring his own life force into that of his dying leader. The Anbu placed a hand on his shoulder. Naruto finally stopped the technique. No, he didn't stop it, he just couldn't maintain the technique any longer. He collapsed and Kat pulled Naruto into a hug. The child shinobi finally broke down. He began crying for the first time since he lost his first sensei. Did it work? Was it enough? Naruto couldn't hold onto his consciousness any longer. He let sleep claim him. Review. Chapter 21. I do not own. Naruto. Recovery. The first thing Naruto noticed was the whiteness. The second was the smell of cleanliness. The third was the soul-crushing emptiness of the place. Great, he thought. I'm in the hospital. Looking around, he saw that he was in a private hospital room. That wasn't unusual. People rarely wanted to be in the same room as him, let alone while they were recovering. Hello Anbu-san. Naruto spoke to the empty corner. There was a moment of nothingness before the corner began to shimmer. Soon the form of the cat Anbu began to materialize. Morning Uzumaki-san. What did I miss? He asked. After you passed out the sound and Sand Shinobi retreated, the invasion failed. Cat answered. When's the funeral? Naruto asked sadly. In 2 days. The Anbu stated. You slept for a whole day. Naruto nodded. A day was all he ever needed. Will there be a special ceremony for the Hokage? Naruto asked, nearly tearing up. Trying to put me in the ground already Naruto-kun. A familiar voice stated kindly. I know you want the hat, but I didn't think it was that bad. Naruto snapped his head to the speaker. Sarutobi Hiruzen was alive. Naruto leapt from his bed and ran into the old man. He hugged him as tightly as he could. Easy there. Hiruzen groaned. These old bones can't take a hug like that anymore. Naruto released the elderly man and gave him a wide smile, which the leader returned. How? Naruto asked. Well, it seems that your technique managed to save him. Kat answered, smiling underneath her mask. The medics are still baffled, but others are calling it a miracle. Hiruzen absent-mindedly rubbed his stomach where the seal was located. He was no fool, he was on borrowed time given to him by Naruto. How much he wasn't sure, but each day was a blessing. Naruto, we must talk. Hiruzen stated seriously, and sadly. After the invasion I realized that I don't have it in me anymore. He stated, I don't have the chakra and my body just can't keep up anymore. I'm retiring. So you're giving me the hat? Naruto asked in hopes of lightening the mood. Naruto. The third spoke seriously. I'm sending you on a mission with Jiraiya to find my replacement. The last of the Sannin. Tsunade Senju. Naruto stated automatically. Granddaughter and grandniece of the first and second Hokage respectfully, last of the Senju line and renowned medic ninja. Unfortunately that's not all. The third stated, she has a bit of resentment to the village. She feels as if the village has taken everything from her. Naruto thought. That's unfortunate. There's more. Hiruzen stated tiredly. Your plan worked. Which one? Naruto asked. How many do you have in motion? Hiruzen all but demanded. 8. The blonde answered. The one, with Renara and the heritage being revealed. The third sighed. That's 2 down. The blonde chuckled. There is to be a council meeting once you wake up. Civilian and shinobi alike wish to see you. Naruto looked away from the man who was like a grandfather to him. He had basically gone against the man, but it was necessity. Still, the rift was there between them. I apologize. Naruto muttered. He wasn't sorry for what he did. He'd do it again if necessary. But still, he'd never want to hurt the kindly elder. Oh, don't worry, I already have my payback. The third stated with a cold smile. Hokage-sama, send her in. The third ordered the Anbu. The Anbu opened the door to reveal a red-eyed INO, who had a smirk. The young Kunoichi looked as if she had been crying, and she was smirking. The third stood and made his way to the door as the young Kunoichi made her way inside. With a subtle nod to each other, they effectively tagged out. Wait, old man, Naruto pleaded, don't leave me with her. Hokage-sama, closing the door, Hiruzen left the blonde to his just fate. The wrath of the woman he loved. A cruel and unusual punishment, but that was the way of the shinobi. You reckless asshole, do you know how much you scared me? She demanded. And what's this about you manipulating the clan heads? Hiruzen chuckled as he listened to the commotion through the door. Hokage-sama, the cat Anbu spoke. Aren't you going to tell him? I will, he answered as his smile lessened. Though I think he deserves to have some moments of happiness after such an event. The Anbu nodded. It was all she could do. She didn't agree, but she wouldn't talk against the village leader on such a personal matter. Her job was to protect the villagers and kill those who would cause it harm. Simple. After being scolded by his girlfriend, who wouldn't stop kissing him in happiness, he didn't understand anything. Was she mad at him or was she happy to see him unharmed? Women, he muttered. Troublesome. What was that? INO demanded. Nothing, dear. He quickly answered. He watched as she continued to swagger down the village road. That's right, swagger. She had found out everything. Everything. How he manipulated the clans and how he turned down the CRA, for her. It seemed that being picked over a harem was all she cared about. And I want this in green and this in gold. INO spoke, breaking his train of thought. Hey, are you listening? Of course dear, he answered as she continued on her shopping spree. Did I say being the only woman of his dreams was all she cared about? She also cared about him buying her an entire new wardrobe. Something about restitution for all of the stress he's been causing her. A way back into her good graces. Bullshit, she just knew he'd do anything for her. Council meeting. Naruto entered the meeting room to see the shinobi and civilian councilman already there. Good to see you Namikaze-sama. A civilian greeted. Councilman, clan heads. Naruto greeted with no emotion. As you are all aware, Naruto here is the son of our deceased 4th Hokage and Kushina Uzumaki. They married in secret and after their deaths I gave Naru to hear his mother's name as protection from his father's enemies. The third stated, you've all seen him use his father's skill, and I have documents for further proof. But why were we not informed? A civilian asked. Surely if we had known, he'd either be a weapon or dead. Naruto answered, if not either of those, I'd be another arrogant nobleman with a god complex. Before they could speak, the blonde tuned to the village leader. If I may Hokage-sama. Naruto spoke politely. What I have to say is shinobi clan business and would like to have the civilians escorted out. What? But we. Before the councilman could finish protesting, the Anbu herded them out. Once they were gone, Naruto turned to the shinobi. Everyone have their contracts. Naruto asked. All of the clan head pull. Ed out a scroll for the contract they would be using for the clan. I will personally go over them. Naruto assured. Once I return from my mission I will have them either signed or we'll sit down for a discussion. Sound fair? With a resounding sound of approval, Naruto gave a polite bow. Is there anything else we need to discuss? Yes, for this it will require the others to return. The Hokage spoke. 5 minutes later, the civilians were back and sending Naruto silent glares, though they wouldn't say anything. Angry, yes, but they still wanted to be in his good graces. Councilmen and clan heads, I am retiring. Hiruzen spoke. There was a resound gasp from the occupants. Even the most reserved members couldn't hide their surprise. Who will be your successor? A shinobi asked. They decided to elect my student Tsunade to become Hokage. The third stated. She has the power, the experience and the respect. She also has an extensive heritage. Danzo stated. That's why I'm sending a team to return her. The third stated. We need her here, to heal and lead this village. Her teammate Jiraiya and Naruto will be the one to retrieve her. A former friend and what's possibly the last family member she has. Shikaku stated. A bold combination. Consider it my last act as the professor. Hiruzen chuckled. While he was chuckling, no one else could see the humor in it. His retiring was like the end of an era. One they had found safety and prosperity in. And now they were to place their future in the hands of a person who hadn't been in the village for over a decade. Hey, have faith in the man that's led this village to success through all the hard times. Naruto stated as he felt the atmosphere. After all he trained this woman himself, surely his ideals passed on to her. And if she's a danger to the village, I'll kill her. Naruto arrived at the gate to see that the Sannin was already there. He couldn't help but feel thankful that it wasn't Kakashi. He respected his sensei and all. But to appear so late was ridiculous. So are you ready for the search? Jiraiya asked once he noticed the blonde. Yes, Naruto answered. Good. The Sannin nodded. Now, the Ms. Scion may take a while and it could be full of treachery. We shall travel the lands and face the unknown and overcome them without heads held high. Naruto looked at the shinobi with unblinking eyes, clearly unimpressed. Where to first? We're going to a nearby village. The Sannin answered with a pout. There we will meet one of my contacts and we can get an idea of where my old teammate is. From there, hey, wait, a voice cried in the distance. Naruto turned to see his fellow blonde and love of his life INO. He noticed that she had a smile on his face, but that was never a clear answer. Could be good, could be bad. INO, what are you doing here? Naruto asked nervously, hoping he wasn't still in hot water with her. Well, I wanted to be the first to congratulate you, she stated with a smile that was eerily like his. So, congratulations, she cheered before giving him a kiss. Breaking apart, Naruto looked at her in confusion. I love your kisses, but I'd still like to know what I'm being congratulated on, he stated. She smiled and handed him a scroll. With a raised eyebrow, he unraveled it and saw that it was a storage seal. Opening it, he was greeted with a Chunin vest. Wow, in all the commotion, I had forgotten why we entered the exams, Naruto thought. Congratulations Naruto, INO stated as she smiled. Only you and Neji Hyuga were promoted. Without a word, the newly instated Chunin put on his vest. It fit like a glove. This was Iruka-sensei's rank, Naruto stated distantly. He had finally reached the rank of his first sensei. INO could see that he was feeling something at the moment. While he never told her what happened on the mission, she knew it was life-changing for him. It must have been if it got rid of that orange-loving buffoon and replaced him with the ninja in front of her. Naruto, could I ask you a favor? INO asked cutely. Could you leave me a few clones? Just to keep me company till you get back. Suspiciously, he made 4 clones. She just continued to smile at him, giving no hints as to what she had planned for them. Don't do anything crazy with them while I'm gone, Naruto called. I won't, she stated with her fingers crossed behind her back. Promoted and off on a high-ranking mission, Jiraiya stated. Things are looking up for you. Yeah, Naruto agreed, absent-mindedly. He couldn't stop admiring his new vest. It wasn't that he cared for the look. He was just so proud. He was actually moving up in rank, making noticeable progress as a shinobi. Progress for his village. See Iruka-sensei, Naruto thought proudly. I'm on my way to the top. Naruto and Jiraiya had traveled for a while, though the blonde had managed to keep occupied by reading a scroll on training. Excuse me, are you the author of those books, Jiraiya? As a matter of fact, I am, he answered proudly. And who might you be? Jiraiya, Naruto spoke. A huge fan, she stated as she leaned onto his arm. Jiraiya, not now kid, Jiraiya stated, making a shooing motion. Why don't you go find us a hotel room? Naruto could only watch in disappointment as one of the village's so-called greatest ninja was led from a mission by a woman and a few nice words. We're on a mission, Naruto spoke. His words fell on deaf ears as Jiraiya focused solely on the woman before him. Naruto had found a room to use for himself. If the sage wanted to stay out, then he could find his own room. The blonde had continued to study his scroll when he heard a knock on his room door. So the sage was turned down already, Naruto thought with amusement. That turned to confusion and then to determination once he opened the door. It wasn't Jiraiya. There stood 2 imposing figures in black cloaks with red cloud prints on them. One was a blue man that reminded Naruto of a shark, and he had a giant weapon on his back. The other was a man that had a resemblance to Sasuke and even wielded the Sharingan, a clear sign that he was an Uchiha. Naruto, you will come with us, the Uchiha ordered. It was subtle, but Naruto could feel the effects of a compulsion genjutsu being placed onto him. Thankfully, with his new training and bloodline, he was able to resist, if only just barely. Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki, Naruto spoke mechanically. Butcher of the Uchiha clan and monster of the mist. I assume that it was you two who put that woman in the genjutsu. Smart, Kisame stated with a smile. So you're the brat who killed Zabuza and Raiga. I killed Raiga, Zabuza was killed by my sensei. Naruto corrected. Are you here to avenge your fallen comrades? Kisame laughed as if he had been told an funny joke. Of course not, he stated with a wicked smile. I probably would have killed them myself eventually. We have come for you, Naruto. Itachi spoke calmly. Or rather, your burden. Naruto reached for his weapons, but his enemy was faster. Kisame grabbed the handle on his large blade and lifted it with ease. He aimed the large weapon at Naruto, who ared unblinkingly but stopped his movements. We need him alive, Kisame, Itachi stated. Alive, but not whole, the shark man stated. I'll just take a leg so he can't run, or an arm so he can't fight. I am interested to see the skill of one who has survived an encounter with 2 of the 7. Itachi, an all too familiar voice shouted. The sudden arrival of Sasuke couldn't have been better for the blonde. The two rogue shinobi turned their attention from the blonde to the young Uchiha for a second, but that second was all Naruto needed. Stepping back from the sword's range, Naruto began to Florida. His chakra trying to bring it to the highest level he could. He began forming hand signs for one of his strongest attacks. He hadn't gotten halfway through before Kisame acted. The monster of the mist swung the large sword at Naruto. No intent on striking him, just getting the blade close. Instantly Naruto knew why the man hadn't tried hitting him. That swing had brought the blade close enough for it to rip away the chakra Naruto had been producing. Naruto jumped back and drew the Kiba blade and the WCB, holding them defensively. "That's quite the collection you have there," Kisame stated. "Are you any good with them?" Saying nothing, Naruto raised the Kiba blade and fired a large blast of lightning at the two. The flash nearly blinded the group, stuck in such a tiny hall. Instead of a powerful impact, as he was hoping, Naruto watched as the blast hit the weapon Kisame was holding. There was no electric current to the missing nin or even a strain from all of the chakra he had released. The weapon Kisame wielded convulsed under the bandages before several spiky appendages shot out. Naruto watched as they twitched, almost as if it were alive. "Hey, no one's ever fed it that much in a single blow." "Impressive," the swordsman stated, "though you'll have to do better than that. Samahata is a glutton. Ninjutsu is obviously out against these two." Naruto thought, a weapon that absorbs chakra and Uchiha to copy them. It'd be stupid to try and... Naruto's train of thought was cut when Sasuke attacked his brother with a Chidori. The elder brother was faster and simply swatted his brother away. "I'll handle this," Itachi spoke as he made his way towards his brother. "Then that leaves us to play," Kisame stated as he grinned. Naruto raised both of his weapons in preparation for the confrontation. Need to stall him, Naruto thought. The flaring of chakra had been for more than a jutsu, it had been a signal. Though a lecher, Jiraiya was still a Sannin and would recognize the danger. Hopefully, he's be there soon, but it would take time. And timing was a precious thing in battle. "You know, I'm disappointed," Naruto spoke. "Of all of the swordsmen, I think I respected Zabuza the most. Oh, I've done my research and I know a bit of what each blade can do," Naruto continued. "So I've decided he's the best of the seven. I could crush Zabuza with ease," Kisame stated. "I don't deny your power. But your skill is questionable," Naruto stated. "I mean, your swords do all of the work. Zabuza was the only one who fought with his own skill. So you want to see my skill?" Kisame chuckled. "Fine." The monster of the mist raised his sword high, but Naruto didn't focus on that. He focused on the mist that was beginning to fill the hallway. "The hidden mist technique," Naruto questioned. "That won't work on me." "That's not me," Kisame stated as he looked over his shoulder. As he said those words, Naruto and Kisame noticed a chill in the air. Being an expert in the technique, Kisame was able to sense the incoming attack and raised Samahata, which alerted Naruto, who jumped back to avoid it. "Senbon, his life belongs to us," a voice spoke. Naruto heard Kisame chew CKLE before he waved the Samahata blade around, drawing the mist into it. Once gone, they saw Haku and Renara, both wielding the respective blades of their former companions. "Release him," Haku ordered. A layer of ice began to coat the walls of the hallway they were in. The two Akatsuki members looked around in mild interest before turning their attention back to the target and the others. "Ice jutsu with no hand signs. An ice bloodline trait and a dujutsu," Kisame spoke. "Too familiar to be a coincidence. You two are survivors of the bloodline purge, aren't you?" At the mention of the massacres in Mist, the two tensed. "We're leaving Kisame," Itachi stated. "A fight like this would only bring unwanted attention." Raising his sword, Kisame brought it down on the ground, causing the floor to cave in. They didn't bother trying to follow the rogue shinobi, it would have been a suicide mission. That just left Naruto, a wounded and unconscious Sasuke with Haku and Renara. The two former mist rogues tightened their grip on their weapons. Naruto did as well. "It is I, Jiraiya," the Sannin exclaimed as he appeared in a puff of smoke. With the appearance of the Sannin, the former Mist N knew that there was no point in fighting. Haku, grabbing Renara by the hand, turned and began walking away. "Thank you," Naruto spoke. Haku spun and launched several Senbon needles at the Chunin. The blonde casually deflected them before looking into Haku's hate-filled eyes. "We didn't come to save you," she sneered. "We just refused to let anyone else kill you," Renara stated. With their part said, the two disappeared in a water body flicker. "So, what did I miss?" Jiraiya asked. Dynamic entry. No, True Ninja is not being discontinued. Nor is any of the other stories have done. Just wanted to get this out, so please read. I'll take it down for the next chapter. So I don't know about you, but I'm tired of Flamers who complain about our work being Kishimoto trash, while they have no story of their own to speak of. However, I will agree on one thing and one thing only: I would like to see something different. This is fanfiction. Unlike them, I actually plan on doing something other than bitching. I hope you all will too. I'll admit that I'm guilty of following the same canon sequence. This story is an example. Naruto is the underdog until he gets an ability, skill or weapon and makes his rise. He graduates. Wave mission. Chunin exams. Tsunade retrieval. Sasuke retrieval. Shippuden. The only real change is the execution and the added details that happen in between. Which often involves his love life or his resolve. Don't get me wrong, I love the stories and all, but 75% of the time we know how it ends. We just don't know how they get there. Let's try something different, shall we? Nameless Shinobi. A single ninja or a team of those nameless shinobi who help run the village. Not those side, one-shot, characters getting a story, but an entirely OC team. They go on their own life-changing adventures that could build or break them for their own reasons. They go on missions and they learn their own ideals of being a shinobi, make their sacrifices and try fulfilling their own goals. From the day they graduate till the day they either fulfill their goal or choose a different path in life, such as going rogue. Or just dying. Maybe they want make a name for themselves from nothing. Maybe they have the weight of a legacy they need to maintain. Maybe they took on the duty of the village for the sake of another. Who knows, it's all open ground. No all-powerful bloodline, no major clan jutsu, no entity sealed within and no op weapons. Or do it all, I just hope it's a good plot. Just the skills they train from the ground up. That's not to say that they won't grow into powerful shinobi, if they survive. They just have to earn it. Through blood, sweat and tears. Go for the different, have them be Anbu, have their village fall, have them become a rogue. Who's interested? Who wants something new? This is both a challenge for any interested as well as to see who wants another to try it out. Take up the challenge or send one out. Just review or PM me. All ALS. Take suggestions or place them out so another can. If you try it for yourself, then please send me a link. I'd love to read it and I'll make a notice of it. I myself plan on doing it and have a few things I'd like you all to decide on. Vote. Which village should this take place in? 1. The village hidden in the leaves. During the reign of the OC 8th Hokage. 2. The village hidden in the mist. During the age of the bloody mist. 3. The village hidden in shadows. A minor OC village during a time of strife. How should the team be formed? 1. A 3-person cell and a sensei. Students will get equal attention. Hopefully. 2. An apprenticeship. Chapter 24. I do not own Naruto. The poll has ended and honestly not what I was expecting. Village. 1. The village hidden in the leaves. During the reign of the OC 8th Hokage. L. 2. The village hidden in the mist. During the age of the bloody mist. LLLLL. 3. The village hidden in shadows. A minor OC village during a time of strife. L. The team. 1. A 3-person cell and a sensei. Students will get equal attention. Hopefully. L. 2. An apprenticeship LLLLLL.